It's time for Game 2 of Group A. The first one, convincingly, although not so much on Cobblestone, but nonetheless a 2-0 in favor of Europe. Envious, they took first blood over Liquid, despite Mo standing in. It was still a reasonable performance from the US side. The #1 seed. This game a little bit different. It's Conquest against Fnatic, and if you think that Envious is the best team in the world, the only team you might naturally think are their competitor right now for that spot is Fnatic, so definitely a tough task. With that said, I won't waste any more time. We'll introduce the teams. Coming in first on my left side, it is the Swedish powerhouse Fnatic. I think we'll grab a word with Crims. Good to see you. I'll get you to swap over. I know it's just whatever. For my reasons, it's easier to have you on my right side. Is it weird walking in without fans? Like in my head, there's always 1,000 screaming people, but I've consulted my doctor. I'll worry about that. How about you guys?
Nah, it's cool. We only hear boos, so nah, it's fine.
I noticed you've switched hats. You used to have the In the City one. I used to allude to when you wore that hat, you'd play better, but you're coming off an excellent tournament yourself. The MVP of Fragbite Masters just last weekend. Is this a new hat, new Crims?
I mean, I gotta work in the lock in this beanie, so I had too many losses with the other one, so not a single loss with this one, so trying new things.
Yeah, well, trying new things that may pay off. Speaking of that, you guys have had 2 wins in 2 consecutive tournaments since the roster change, a big roster change as well, taking out your in-game leader. Naturally, it's a unanimous decision that with Dennis, this roster packs a little more punch. How are things actually working within the team right now? Obviously, the victories speak for themselves, but is this a honeymoon period or is this actually working well?
It's working very, very well, but we are still a new team and we make some crucial mistakes because we haven't had a lot of practice, but in the end I think we're going to be the best team on paper, on everything, and we're very confident.
I like the confidence. I like it. Well, 2 straight victories does say that. Now let's talk a little bit more about this tournament in particular. Coming into ESEA Pro League, we got best of 3s to go all the way through. 1 game a day, gives you lots of time to relax. But you start off against Conquest. Now you guys naturally don't know as much about these guys. You worried at all? Have you done any scouting whatsoever? Or are you just going to play your game?
Honestly, we have no idea how they play and we haven't watched any demos. We feel like very confident coming into this tournament with 2 wins, and I don't know, we're just going to play our game and not underestimate them because everything can happen and we play on this level, people are good, so just play our own game and win.
All right, well, I'm going to let you go do exactly that with your team, play your own game. Best of luck, and it has been an absolute, I'd say, incredible story. You switch arguably the best roster in the world. You switch their in-game leader out, and yet they're still capable of winning. It's a new era, perhaps. We'll have to see how that unfolds. And a team that definitely wants to stand in their way and prevent them from getting off on the right foot this tournament is Team Conquest. They got their own established fan club, but we'll see if they can hold up to their performance at CSGO this weekend. I like the coordination. Red, black, and then, of course, Shazam. How are you, sir?
Pretty good. Excited to play.
Absolutely, and I understand why you would be excited. You guys are, in some ways, and you've been alluded to this, the team of misfits, the team of players that have been on various rosters. The interesting thing is the Denial core from the December of last year, a year ago, are kind of reunited. You, Nafly, and Daps, who have all had stints in Team Liquid, Cloud9 in your case. How do you guys actually feel as a roster? You have such just loose play style. Is there actually like a cohesion there, or is this just like a go all out and hope for the best kind of mentality?
No, there's definitely a lot of cohesion. I mean, like you mentioned the denial lineup. Like since we were on that team, like we've always still wanted to play with each other. We're really good friends. And then Stanislaw and Rush, we're teammates from like Stanislaw was my teammate, Rush was the rest of the guys' teammate, and like we just love playing with each other. So like there's a cohesion. We work hard. Like Daps and Stan put like some of the most hard work I've ever seen on any team. So they're like the brains behind the entire operation.
And you've definitely got some fanship as well. Obviously at CSGO you had your own fan club that was ridiculous. Now that you guys admitted that actually helped you guys. You got pumped, you got into the game, and you are that kind of personality, like you said, fun play style. I think that shows in a lot of the behaviors of and the mannerisms of your players. This weekend's a little different. In CSGO things were great. You guys had an absolutely incredible tournament, kind of turned some heads, made some people recognize, took note. iBuyPower, a couple days, actually a week after, I guess, not quite the same results. Now, I know you said we've got something planned to get pumped. We're going to do good this weekend. What are your expectations, though, starting off the weekend against Fnatic?
So we're not really focusing on like gimmicky counter strats or like just getting a map upset. Like we've got like our game settled. Like we know what to do on what maps we want to play, and we're just going to play our game and like impose our game onto them. See how it goes.
All right, we'll play with speed and style. You always seem to do so. I'll let you join your team as well. Get in, get warmed up, get pumped up, and we're going to do the exact same thing by talking to some of the best minds in the game. And Machine. I'm sorry I had to do it, but he's standing by with the analysts.
Man, this is going to be a long weekend, isn't it? I mean, it's not even a weekend,
feel?
it's 4 days, and Matt's already starting to fire shots. He's going to be hurting my feelings a lot as the week does progress. I'm joined by some new faces now. Of course, I've got Anders now, Sean and Moses. How are you boys doing? You feeling good? Anders, you're looking radiant today.
You got to get better at lying, man.
I had to pause. I was like, where am I going with this? Anders, you look. Could say how far I got.
New faces. Well, I literally
I was actually admiring the beard. Did you go for a trim today? Looking good.
Yeah, I spent some time on it.
Yeah, you shaped it?
A little bit. Yeah, and I just turned 30 as well. So
I know. A little congratulations is in
new
order.
face.
There's like 2 days ago now.
Yeah, something like that.
Well,
I lost time
congratulations.
traveling as well.
Well, when you're 30, you know, you just that's what stops,
I managed
right?
to be home for just 20 hours to celebrate my birthday, and I was off to LA.
Oh, well, at least you did get your birthday.
I did.
I mean,
luckily,
Henry doesn't ever celebrate Christmas with anyone, so at least you get to do your birthday with someone.
That is stellar.
Is that
That's
real?
nice. That's real.
Yeah.
Last 2 Christmases you spent alone playing Counterstrike.
Okay.
I'm not even joking. Anyway, Sean, how are you doing?
What's going on right now?
Yeah, just throwing Henry under the bus.
I was talking to him and he was just like, dropped it.
I
Just drop
approve
that bomb to me.
I
Yeah.
approve throwing him under the bus as much as possible.
Yeah, he's not even here and we're firing shots. But
What are
Sean,
you saying, Creamy?
Well,
oh no.
yeah, I think if are we describing like other people? Because you said he looks radiant, just great. I'm gonna describe Moses.
Okay, go.
You look creamy.
God,
God, this is already a
we just
pretty...
knew it was coming. Let's get it all out of the way, boys.
And I mean, just so everyone knows at home, he loves it. So please feel free. Like every single tweet he gets with that meme is making him happy.
It's
But I mean,
my
Sean, you
lord.
just cast
What have you
like
guys
your first
done?
game. You've got a
Monsters.
suit on. It's looking good.
Yeah,
How's it going so far? How's your week started?
it's gone pretty good. Everything's gone
Yeah.
pretty much according to plan. NA losing.
Yeah.
In heartbreaking fashion.
Yeah, and
How
heartbreaking.
did they lose that round?
That was incredible.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, what can you analyze when you're like, well, the bomb's down, they've got everything,
3v5.
everything's
All
working in their
pistols.
favor.
Long range battles.
This is why you
And
know.
not another frag was gotten that
This
round.
is why you know it's a good thing that like Dazed and Steel aren't playing in a team like this, because probably someone would have died if they lost that. Like, I think probably they would have probably murdered somebody.
I think if that scenario happened in FPL, I don't even.
Something horrible.
I
would
don't,
happen.
I don't even know what would happen.
Not a good time. Not a good time, definitely not.
Well, I mean,
Jesus.
we have alluded a little bit to this next matchup. We should probably start talking a little bit about that one, boys. Conquest Fnatic. You know, I think the main port of call for us is going to be talking about Fnatic just first of all, because I think there's a lot to dissect, and I've got a lot of kind of smart people next to me that I'd like to know your thoughts on. When it comes to, you know, Fnatic's recent change, it's been discussed, to, you know, to no end, but Dennis taking, you know, stepping in, and we're saying goodbye to Pronax. It was a big change, and I mean, Sean, when you saw that announcement, I assume you knew before the announcement. That's the kind of thing that you kind of pick up on. But what did you initially feel about that change?
I think as with any time you get a team full of 5 excellent fraggers that just forms, they're gonna have like a high peak initially,
Right.
and it's on them at that point after that peak starts to fall that they focus back on making new tactics, getting new smoke grenades, staying up to date with the metas, because right now they're just 5 very aggressive aimers and just super cohesive in that aspect, and they're using what they previously built on the old lineup right now. So I think this tournament right now is super important to their future as a team, that they don't start slipping up.
So you're suggesting there's still quite a lot of Pronax in this team despite his absence?
For sure, yeah. They're definitely running a lot of the stuff that they had with Pronax, but they're also playing a lot more loose. There's a very stark difference between this team and that team, but they do have some similarities.
We've actually seen that impact of Pronax if you look at, you know, matches that they played at the end of last year, even like the first, you know, 4 or 5 months of this year. Like slowly, even with Pronax in the lineup, they've been transitioning away from that. Like you used to be able to see like very obvious imprints of Pronax strategically and then how players are placed relative to what is happening on the other side of the map, and they've kind of been drifting slowly away from that. So I think it's been a pretty easy transition in terms for Flusha in game leading, because I mean they've been going away from it anyways. So he doesn't have to get too tactical as Pronax was. And yeah, that's the big thing is, you know, as he gets more into an in-game leader role right now, they can just recycle some things, you know, keep going with what's working. But when he actually decides that they need to go in and change something, is he going to be able to do that? That's going to be the real test.
I mean, you got the Flush and Dennis. I mean, we were talking to you about beforehand, Anders. I think like IEM, you were like, I mean, I'd be surprised why Dennis didn't step in at some sort of leadership role. He's always been someone that likes to kind of take that role.
Well, there were all these rumors going around at some point, right? Talking about Fnatic and talking about NIP and how they might try and switch players around. And I always thought that that if you were to have like 2 leaders in Sweden, then like one would obviously be Pronax, and another one could definitely be Dennis. So Yeah, I think that's like a secondary option for Fnatic, and I think that would be interesting. But I think right now they should give Flusher the sort of the reins to let him try and do it for as long as he can. I mean, the other thing is that I think a lot of the game, the way it features right now, you guys can talk a little bit more about this maybe, because there's so little time to prepare for anything. Having an in-game leader that has like a huge tactical depth, which I guess we don't know if Flusher does or not, but if he doesn't, it won't actually hurt them like all that much. Yeah. Whereas maybe next year, if we don't know what the workload's going to be like, but if it will be less so that teams have more time to practice, then you're going to need tactical leaders again. So
especially after the break right now for the new year, where everyone has time to decompress, make some new tactics, find some new smokes, and just refresh all their maps and their map pool. So especially after the new year, it'll be interesting to see what they're like.
And we have to talk a little bit about their opponents as well, boys. We've kind of just touched on Fnatic, Conquest, of course, going up against them. And I think this is one of those ones that on paper does look brutal. It looks like it could go very much one way and towards the Scandinavian side of things. You've, of course, played against Conquest, you know, with your opportunity, with your team. How would you rate this roster? What do you consider their strengths?
They're actually extremely good. They're a very underrated roster in North America. They had a great run at a LAN tournament sometime a couple months ago.
That was a CSGO at MLG.
Yeah, CSGO LAN. Yeah. They took out a couple of good teams. They took out Liquid, which at the time was playing like the best team in North America. So they have all the tools necessary. They have lurkers, they have an opper, they have an in-game leader, entry fragger, support player. They have it all. So it's on them to hit the shots right now, piece together rounds, and they're going to have to play some of the best CS of their lives.
Is that what it's going to come down to, just hitting the shots?
Yes.
Yeah, well, because we saw they had that great tournament, they had that great run at CSGO, and then they went to, it was the iBuyPower LAN, was like a weekend or two after that, and they just got destroyed. So it's like, and that's one of the issues with new teams and new teams that are like all of a sudden finding more success than they're used to, is like being consistent with it. And they haven't shown that they can be, but they absolutely have very, very skilled players that come in and they start out playing really, really well and they get some confidence early on. That's when they can start getting dangerous. Although, I mean, going against Fnatic, yeah, this is, yeah.
I kind of almost feel like, I mean, I guess I don't know what their personalities are like, but if I was playing, let's say, mouse sports and I was Conquest, I would feel like I have to put my, like, I would put a lot of pressure on myself to try and do it. Yeah. If I'm playing Fnatic, I almost feel like I'd probably be thinking, this is so insane. Yeah. So maybe a lot of pressure would actually be taken off, like just because.
This is so insane.
Yeah, well, because if you lose to mouse sports, people will probably be like, well, right, we've got like an up and coming American team, and they're playing a European team that has had some struggles, and they can't win anyway. So you know, people will be upset, making Reddit threads and posting on AHL TV and all that stuff. Whereas if you lose to Fnatic, people are just going to be like, well, okay, they lost to Fnatic. Yeah, we kind of expected that, right? So I might feel a little bit less pressure as Conquest playing a game that's, or sorry, a team that's so much better, basically.
Yeah, and I have heard that a lot in the North American scene. When a lower tier North American team goes up against a stacked lineup like Fnatic or an Envious, the nothing to lose mentality and play loose, guys. Don't you know, keep it all in. So just play your game. So they're probably saying that to themselves right now, yeah. And they could take fights that they typically don't take, and they're going to go for aim battles.
See, this is the question, is whenever I'm thinking about, you know, the North American teams trying to best Fnatic, as I think back to, you know, best of one games where CLG, they lost Mirage like 4 times in a row, and then finally they turned up, picked Mirage against Fnatic, and had like the most ridiculous anti-strats for them, right? This is something that I don't think Conquest are capable of in a best of 3. Like, how far can you anti-strat a team like Fnatic? Especially now, Flusher, you just said they just run around and get aim battles. Yeah, is the time of anti-strat and Fnatic gone?
Deep team. It's so hard to read them. And like, even if you know Olaf's going to try and make a play somewhere, the trick is stopping it, and he's just so good that that's where the real struggle comes in. And it's actually kind of funny that you mentioned CLG and their history on Mirage with Fnatic, because it's exactly what they came to me and said just before they started. They're like shaking their head. They're like, "We got Mirage. We picked Mirage against Fnatic," and I was like, "Oh, you guys just that is insane. Like like insanity. Like that's the thing. Like, why are you doing this? Like they picked it, and it's just." All right.
You've alluded to the maps. Let's talk about the Vita. We do have that. We can bring that up on the screens. But, I mean, that's the point. They must have been kind of looking like, so our brothers CLG did it on Mirage. Maybe we can too. And then we can see them there, guys, for you to dissect. We saw the initial veto. Conquest took Dust 2 away from Fnatic. Overpass was the response. And those first 2 picks did come in. Look at that, straight out of the gate. Mirage secured for the Americans, and then Inferno was the response from Fnatic. And, of course, we're going to be seeing Cash as the decider. Thoughts on that one, gentlemen? Moses, I mean, you said Mirage. How do you feel about the Inferno, Cash?
Yeah, it's going to be 2-0.
Yeah?
Inferno's second map is so brutal, isn't it? Like, it's one of those maps for Fnatic have like kind of once again shown that, yeah, you try not to play that map against them. Cause
I don't know why an American team would veto Dust 2 against Fnatic.
Yeah, that's a good question.
They're strong on Dust 2, but I don't think they would have picked it. They could have used it as their second veto. They definitely should have vetoed it for now.
I mean, there's a couple of things to take into account. I think when you're looking at, I mean, when
I love that there's like giggles just because of a map pick. That's the stage we're at already.
Well, to be fair, it's the thing we always say, like, how do you veto against Fnatic? They're good on everything. But to go into like a Mirage as a North American team, who historically North American teams just aren't good on Mirage. You know, CLG's shown some proficiency at it. It's one of their favorite maps, but it's just so much of a struggle. And then yeah, with Inferno coming up, I mean, you can't play Inferno as a second map. Like, it just puts so much pressure on a Mirage. You have no mistakes to give up.
And so, I mean, we talked, Anders, you were just talking about the prowess of Fnatic on Mirage. You're saying, you know, that's just a really foolish pick. I mean, Sean, when you're looking at Fnatic's Mirage and you're like, okay, how are we going to play against this? C9 have got pretty close on Mirage numerous occasions.
We've actually beat them like 16-3 on Mirage.
Exactly. Well, there you go.
But
So
we shredded the, like,
let's go with this.
Jesus out of them, and they can't do that to this lineup. This is not that lineup that we did that to.
So how many similarities? Like, what was Pronax's Mirage like?
They just fell into more defined roles on their CT side, and this team has 5 people that are literally just running around, just taking people's heads off.
Like just pugging, just running around, shooting people, having fun.
Well, I mean, they go to spots, but it's a lot less defined.
I'd be interested to see if Conquest have picked up on the whole jump smoke script fad that's been very popular in Europe.
Maybe quick take mid.
Yeah, exactly. Because the smokes you can land in window and the grenades you can land in connector now, they're so fast that like if JW or someone else tries to open middle, it'll be so hard for them to do it right.
He'd probably just jump out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he probably would. But I'd be interested to see if that's going to be a thing. You're right, though. That is true. I didn't think about that. Damn. I was trying to apply logic to JW position for a second there. I should have done that.
It was cute of you to try, though.
Yeah,
that was nice. So you know what? We've got some time to buy, and you've just raised the point about jump smokes with the bind. You know what? Let's go ahead. Let's dive a little bit into that, because I feel like that's a conversation I'd love to have.
I love this conversation.
I was going to say, have you vocalized this? Have you vocalized your thoughts on this before? Because you've made some good points off air. You have.
So, well, so just briefly, what I think is it's a very, very sort of like diluted version of this conversation. I think the problem is that if you ban the jump scripts, then you remove a lot of the really interesting and fun smokes that could be made in the game. Yeah. But if you keep them in, then the jump script makes sure that there's absolutely no skill involved. Everybody could be at like you know, at an elite level to throw those smokes. So that's also a little bit boring, right? That means there's no like diversity at all. The best teams in the world and people who are like silver elite, they will all be throwing the same really good smokes because it takes no effort at all. So I just think the game should be made so that it takes some practice. Not a lot, because I don't want the whole game to be around. Like, pros already have a lot to focus on, so I don't want people to spend, like, you know, 10 hours a day, you know, trying to throw smokes, but just enough that you can actually practice smokes and become good at them, and then land some of those pixel smokes. So, yeah, I kind of want, like, the best of both, and I think there's a way to do that. There must be a way to do that.
I mean, there definitely will be, like, a huge discussion surrounding this one. I mean, Mirage as well is a map where you do see, that, you know, there's a whole lot of those smokes that will be thrown, and we do have to talk about predictions now, guys. I'd love to go into this a little further, but fortunately, issues resolved. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about our predictions for this one. I think it's going to be pretty clear cut, but let's do it anyway.
Okay, I'll just go 2-0 for Fnatic.
Thank you. Okay, thank
you.
you.
Are you 100% sure?
You're going to look mighty stupid.
I'll take that.
100% sure.
100% sure.
Because I'm pretty sure you've told us off for ever saying that. You never say 100%, but you've done it. Okay, what about you, Sean?
This match could be played with all revolvers, and Fnatic is still winning 2-0.
Some would say you don't rate Conquest's chances.
I don't rate their chance 8 out of 8, maybe.
Thank you very much. Anders?
I mean, I have such a good opportunity to like
look like a mastermind in Conquest.
Yeah, exactly. If I just, but the, we're just. I mean,
this is just for Mirage, so we'll be back.
Oh, it's just for Mirage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still going to be Fnatic.
Yeah.
Wait. So now Inferno, I mean, just make it a 2-0, Anders. Let's go.
Yeah, no, it has
100%?
to be. It has to be.
Okay, so...
No, 99.9.
There you go. There's always a chance.
Always a chance.
It does look like the desk is believing in the Swedes, and understandably so. We're going to go ahead and head to your casting pair for our second game here for the ESL ESEA Pro Leagues. Mega Man, our blue, take it away.
All right, thank you very much, Machine, and we are heading into our second match for the day. My name is Blue. Joining me here is Mega Man, and indeed, it's going to look like a rough one, Mega.
I agree 100% with that. Obviously, they don't have much faith in the North American side. Can't really say that I blame them. Obviously, Fnatic's coming off the playing very, very well recently, especially with the new acquisition of Dennis. Just been doing a phenomenal job playing really, really good CS. They've won a couple of events here in a row, and Conquest still hungry, still yet to prove themselves, but it's going to be an uphill battle the whole way
Yeah, the only event, again, the analysts talk quite a bit about it, the only event where we really saw some good progress made by Conquest was back at CSGO LAN, which was, you know, a month or two ago now, and at the more recent ones like the iBuy Power LAN and the RGN LAN, we just really didn't see them show up as strong, so we can't say like that the performance has been carried over, and it's just because we haven't seen them at LAN so much. It's been now, they had a really good running at that LAN, but ever since then they've just basically dropped off the map, and we haven't seen anything super impressive from them beyond online North American matches.
Yeah, and the big part about that too is you talk about these map vetoes a little bit. They touched on it on the analyst desk and about how, you know, Conquest was happy that they got Mirage against Fnatic. Fnatic's just over there. They're rubbing their hands together and salivating over the fact that they get to play 2 maps that they are extremely strong on. So we'll have to see how this one pans out, but it does look like we are getting ready to go into the pistol round here. So, Blue, why don't you go ahead and take us away in the pistol round here for Fnatic versus Conquest.
All right, well, we're going to get right into it, guys, and I think this is actually the knife round, Mega Man.
Is it?
I think it is.
No.
I could be wrong. It says knife round on the side.
It does.
We don't have production telling us otherwise, so we're going to assume it's the knife round. And yes, it is the knife round, guys. Even though we did have pistols out at the start. So again, we can talk a little bit more about this. And again, these map picks were pretty interesting too, because both of these maps too, just talking about the first 2 specifically, are very, very strong towards either side. The problem becomes specifically on Inferno though. I actually did a quick look up of the stats for specifically Fnatic. Fnatic on this new lineup, out of 5 times they played Inferno, they've never once been beaten on it.
Yeah. And that's a huge statistic for them moving forward into this one as well, is just the fact that, you know, even if they do drop Mirage, you've still got Inferno, you've still got Cash after that. And I mean, those are 2, again, very strong maps for them. But if you look at it, what is that? 4 out of the last 5 times that Fnatic has played on Mirage, they've won. So they've got an 80% win rate there. But then adversely on the Conquest side, 7 out of their last 8 games that they've played on there, they've won. So Conquest definitely strong on that map. One of the maps I would have actually liked to have seen Conquest pick, even against Fnatic. See, the problem is Fnatic's map pool is so, the depth of their map pool is so strong. It doesn't really matter what map you play them on. They're good on pretty much everything. But I would have liked to have seen Overpass.
Also, just generally speaking, too, I mean, Fnatic's victories could be considered a little bit more impressive because of the fact that a lot of theirs are going up against some of the top-tier European teams, whereas with Conquest, again, these are versus North American teams, which are considered at their level, and obviously that's just a tier below. It's just not as impressive to see those victories coming out. So the record shows strong, but now they have to throw that progress up a whole other tier here to the top, basically one of the top teams in the world, essentially, and try to beat that up.
Yeah, one of the top, if not the top team. Obviously, Envious has had a couple of struggles here recently. I mean, that matchup between them and Liquid on Cobblestone was a little bit closer than what we might have expected it to be, but we'll see whether or not Fnatic can lock it down here. They're going to be starting on the terrorist side of Mirage, and we are now officially into the pistol round.
All right, so let's get right to it, guys, and take a look. Fnatic jumping onto that T side first. Conquest starting off CT. Pretty normal split here to start things off. They do send 2 over towards the B site to defend this one, and 2 watching out towards middle, too. But for Fnatic, it's going to be 4 players pushing up very quickly up towards the T ramp. But Naf, great shot. Going to be able to catch JW right off the get-go.
Yeah, Shazam comes right back in onto Dennis, so it's going very well for Conquest so far in the pistol round. That bomb site, well, now it's going to finally get taken. Flush it does take down Naf. Olafmeister onto Daps, but coming back around, it's going to be Crims finds one more. Shazam takes another one out. The trades are all over the map right now, but the bomb plan is down and the favoring situation towards the terrorist side, and now the retake is on. Flush it back. Firebox looking for this frag on a Stanislaw, and it's going to be Olafmeister to clean him up from stairs, so that is 1-0 for Fnatic. And looked good for Conquest to start off that round. The 2 opening picks going their way, but Fnatic doing Fnatic things.
Yeah, the play from Fnatic basically just happened straightforward. Very quickly there to Conquest, aren't really given a whole lot of time to react to that. With what they had to work with, they do a good job of trying to rotate their players in, but their split just did not favor that kind of aggressive push from Fnatic, so they're very quickly shut down. And now immediately we can see the usual buy coming out from Fnatic in the second round here. 2 AKs and 3 SMGs, as they're going to try to plow right through this, whereas with Conquest, not even really investing onto the force buy here. They're just going to stick with, for the most part, P250s and a Deagle for over there for Naf.
Well, they got 3 kills in the pistol round, so they put a little bit of money in the bank as well, so they're opting not to go for the buy up here so that they can get the AWP in the hands of Shazam, because that's really going to be the linchpin for the CT side for Conquest. Is Shazam going to show up? Is he going to be able to hit those op shots and shut down any of these pushes from the terrorist side? How is JW going to be adapting to that? So there's a lot of factors in this. Honestly, my key player right now for the Conquest side would be Rush. What kind of a match is he going to be having on this? Because he's really been stepping up lately for Conquest as well. But adversely on the other side, I mean, Crims, the last couple events, he has been absolutely sensational. And now you see him actually starting to creep up into the site. And Naf from a long range with that Desert Eagle is just going to rip his head clean off his shoulders. But That bomb is creeping through the B halls.
Yeah, there's currently nobody watching out for B from the side of Conquest. They now start to realize this, and Shazam is on his way towards the site, but this hold is going to come far too late here, specifically for Shazam. Oh, actually, scratch that. Wow. He manages to take down JW, but a quick response, thankfully coming out there from Olofmeister. Still keeps things in control here for Fnatic. They are going to be down a player against Conquest, but now they've pushed everybody from Conquest out of the site. We see those rotations coming in, but they need to explode outside here and completely overwhelm Fnatic. Otherwise, they're going to start to shut things down very quickly.
Yeah, this is a good pinch, actually, from the CT side. They're sending 2 around from Catwalk and 2 coming around from the kitchen side, but they're starting to expose themselves. Daps goes down. It's still a 3v3, but look at this. They're just going to try to hold them into the site to try to waste those guns and not allow them to fall back. Crims is going to try to at least get himself out of dodge here. He does manage to take down Stanislaw. He's going to go to battle with Nafly, and he's going to take him down as well, but it's going to be Rush in the backside. He could get the backstab here and take an AK out of their hands, and that's looking like, oh, it's very... Oh, just barely misses the shot. 1 HP for Crims, but he gets out of it, and he keeps the AK. So that's the important thing about it is they lost 3 of the SMGs. They lost 1 over towards the CT side, but they kept both of the AKs, so that's good for their economy.
That's so unfortunate, though. He's only on 1 HP, and he managed to survive there, and that's a whole lot of money he's going to be able to carry into the next round here. The rebuy is now coming out for Fnatic. They actually don't rebuy on... Well, actually, well, scratch that, as Olofmeister does end up buying a MAC-10, but had they have chosen to not buy him, that could have made sense, too. You lose 1 player, it's not the biggest deal in the world. They could have scavenged that AK, and you don't lose a whole lot of money from that sort of play. But Fnatic's still looking good, but interestingly enough here from Conquest now, that SMG sitting in the hand of Daps. He'll try to work something with this one as they stack all their players on the A site, and it seems to be well placed here. Fnatic may not be expecting this just as of yet.
I don't know if Crims spotted Nap's gun barrel just yet, but there's going to be the peak, and Nap is going to take the battle. Takes him very, very low. Rush and Stanislaw going to combine to take down Olofmeister, but the trade comes back out. Now that P90 from Daps underneath the balcony, but he's going to overextend himself. We're down to a 1 versus 2, but it's going to be Stanislaw caught in the middle of a reload. He's going to go down, and Fnatic are going to be able to at least successfully execute their anti-ecos, and they keep, again, 2 of those AKs in hand. Olofmeister picking up an AWP, see if he throws it over to JW, or if he's going to hold on to it himself. But a double op setup right out of the gate here for Conquest.
And this is a very risky move, too, because this is going to virtually leave them with absolutely no money and a very low amount of utility for this entire round, too. You've got 4 smokes for the entire team, but virtually 0 flashbang, or 0 flashbangs beyond what obviously Stanislaw, Daps, and Rush are brought in. And then in terms of volleys and HEs, they've got nothing, so they're not really going to be able to hold back any kind of aggressive play from Fnatic. Thankfully, because again, from that interview that we had with Fnatic's players, they're probably going to be playing this a little bit slower just because of the fact they don't know what to expect from Conquest, so that could hopefully play into them a little bit. But this first op shot here from Naf, going to miss the connection. Thankfully, he is able to correct it on the second try to take down Flusha.
Yeah, and that was really just kind of a bait and switch play right there, trying to draw that rotation over. But Crims is going to be able to find Daps down by connector from the top side of mid. Shazam actually has the open window room right now, but he was holding an off angle for that push to come up towards that A bomb site just for the Palace peak, but it's not going to be coming in that direction. Bomb's actually working its way through the B hall, so Rush and Stan are going to have their hands full. That's a cheeky little flash. I like that one. And that actually does catch out one of the Fnatic players, so they're actually falling back a little bit off of the B halls. Bomb is still holding true there, but it looks like he might be working his way around towards underpass. Maybe? No, actually, he's going to be up in the halls. So it does look like it will eventually be a B execution, but they're going to send this lurker up over Catwalk to see if they can scout out any information and see what can happen here.
Here's the thing, too, though, is that Conquest are very fidgety right now. You can see they've completely emptied out all of their utility already. They've got 1 flash left for the entire team, whereas Fnatic, they still have a smoke. They still have an HE sitting on Crims. They've got a lot to work with. But as they try to enter in, Rush turns the other direction, and that's going to be an easy frag for Olofmeister as they start to work their way in. JW, that might have been a mid-air headshot there as he takes down Stanislaw. Shazam finally coming in for a little bit of a response. He's clear as well as he works his way outside of the market, but wrapping around this corner doesn't necessarily spot it, and Olofmeister going to be able to take out Shazam, only leaving Naf left alive. He has to retreat out of this and try to save this op now.
I can't believe that Shazam was actually able to get himself up as far into the site as he was before anybody spotted him. Naf does eventually fall to Crims 4-0 as your scoreline, but that could have actually been extremely dangerous with Shazam pushing up as aggressive into the site as he was. If he doesn't get picked off by Olofmeister from Catwalk, he potentially could have done some serious damage to that round.
And there we can see as well, they're right at the end of that round. Shazam just barely missing that opportunity. I think he gets taken down just a second before, and is shut out before he can connect the shot that was needed to allow Conquest to make a little bit more ground to re-enter that site. Now, of course, as we were talking about before, Conquest took that very risky path of going for the double op setup, and now they've been left with virtually 0 money to respond to it on this round, so Fnatic should have a pretty secure round coming in their direction, and already starting it off well here. Rush getting overwhelmed by HE grenades. He's already down at 8 HP, and more progress being made in through a mid connector right now. Dennis, Crims, both picking up kills. They don't necessarily account for Shazam, so he's able to sneak through with at least 1, and Stanislaw too, almost picking up 1 there. Brings I believe Crim's down to 11 HP, but just going to be Rush once again now, sitting below. Very, very low, not really going to be able to do anything else, and this one will definitely be going the way of Fnatic.
Yeah, one of the interesting things to look at here is how Fnatic are already, it's only 5 rounds in, and you can see how many different ways they're switching up the pace in this so far. Last round was a slow B strat with a lurk by Flusha out through the A bomb site. Didn't really yield him a lot of information because he got taken down nearly instantaneously by Naf. This time they go fast through mid, get up through connector. They know that it's going to be a save round because of that heavy double up investment. And, you know, they get right in the face of all of those CTs and take them down early on in the round. It's just going to be Rush with Pistol and a Dream. He does manage to take down Crims at least, so a little bit of a silver lining to the round. But let's see if they actually have to... Okay, they do have the money to go for another rebuy here, so I was kind of concerned that with that first gun round, with that double up setup, that might give them a double save here, but they're going to go right back for the double up again.
Interestingly enough, if you sort of hark back to that first gun round, it was really Naf and Shazam that made the only really big impact frags from that round too. So it does, to some degree, make a little bit of sense to attempt this once again.
I think they were the only two that actually got any kills the entirety of the round.
So this makes sense because now hopefully the riflers can have a little bit more impact and maybe they can pick up a round off of this. The problem becomes though, again, even though they're getting a small amount of kills on some of these eco rounds, Fnatic on the T side, these can easily be forgiven. So this isn't really putting a big dent in their economy. They're still slowly building up a bank, and this is going to become a problem for Conquest when they finally pick up a first round. Thankfully though, Naf starting it off strong. He's going to be able to drop Crims. Now once again we see that very, very slow play from Fnatic trying to investigate what exactly is going on throughout the entire map.
This is a little bit scary. I don't know if you caught this at the beginning of the round as Shazam does pick off Olafmeister, and the execution's coming towards the A bomb site, even though the bomb is back towards T-spawn. Dennis onto Naf, but there was a smoke thrown in B halls, and actually the player that was playing back there, I believe it was Stanislaw, dropped another smoke past it, and the terrorist side player is actually up in front of that smoke in B halls right now, so they've got a little bit of a standoff, and now the pop flash comes around. Stanislaw is going to take the peek, the fake flash with the pistol throw, but Stan does end up getting that, so he does manage to get the frag in the long run. Now it's going to be down to a 2-on-4. The bomb rotating back around towards the B bomb site, and it's going to be Flusha trying to get in towards B to get that bomb plant and put the money in the bank again. But with 5 rounds to their name right now, Fnatic shouldn't be hurting for money, and Dennis just trying to do some damage over here at the A bomb site.
Dennis actually making the interesting choice. He's going to try to regroup with his teammate. So we have no clue what's happening.
I have no idea, but at least if I'm listening to the sound, okay, Shazam actually did op him down, and now he's going to try to get into the site, spins around, Flusha goes down, Stanislaw going to close it out, and it's a 4-man stand for the first round for Conquest, and that's really, really good, especially I couldn't see if they were able to salvage the second op, so we'll see here in a second whether or not they were able to pick that up for the next round, because that's a big investment to lose going forward, especially when you're relying so heavily on that double op setup. So, and they didn't get it.
So now comes the big test here, because as we were talking about before, Fnatic easily with 5 rounds in a row is still going to have enough money to go for their rebuy. If we see Conquest now dropping this one, they're going to have to reset from square one to build up their economy again, because they're still buying out here. Very heavy investment into utility as well, not really taking it very light in that regard. So we're still seeing Fnatic being able to just crush Conquest here and gain even a bigger lead if they just shut down this round. And now they're going to set up smokes here to go directly into that A site, so let's see how it works out.
Beautiful pop flash, though. Daps is going to be able to find one, finds a second. Nap is there for the backup. Daps hungry for more. He's going to find 3 on the round, and it's all down to Crims. Daps going for the 4-piece, and he gets it. 2 rounds now on the board for Conquest, and a great A-hold. That pop flash was so cheeky.
And that was just an overall great response. When you take a look at Conquest, generally speaking there, they just completely counter out the nades that were thrown in by Fnatic. They knew the take was going to be rushing in, and Fnatic just tried to do that so bluntly that it's easy for Conquest to throw out the pop flashes, and they just get shut down outside of Tetris. They never make any progress past that.
And you said a key word at the beginning of that round as well. The investment in utility on the CT side. That's something that with that double up setup that they hadn't really had a couple of those rounds. This time they have that investment and they're able to utilize it well to be able to clean up that push into that A-bomb site.
And again now from Fnatic, we can take a look and see a lot of players trying to push their way into apartment. Shazam, of course, trying to find something in middle. Not going to be able to pick it up, and in fact, it's a direct hit from a nade. So he's going to be down at 41 HP. Has to fall away from that to some degree here, but still keeping a presence in the general area, whereas the rest of Fnatic, the smokes and the setup now coming in towards the B site. And it's going to be a 4-man push through the apartments. Rush has to reposition. He's outside of this right now. The smokes are really well set up. Fnatic is going to be able to make a lot of progress, but they're not accounting for this. Rush coming in there, picking up 2 as he's traded out. Fnatic retain control, but Shazam again finding those trades back out. Fnatic bring this down to a 2 versus 1. It's just going to be Daps. Unfortunately, he's really outside of the combat zone right now and probably won't even really have a chance to try and close this out.
Big thing, though, is that the bomb is still down in that site, and they're a little bit weary to go and retrieve it right just yet. So he's getting a lot of time to be able to rotate back on around. most likely they'll leave Olafmeister up here in the apartment hallways and B just to, you know, get that two-man stack over on that side of the site. But right now, JW working his way in. The bomb is coming around, so he is going to get that plant down. And now it's going to be Daps coming around from Catwalk. And they have no idea that he's here, actually. Both players were watching towards the kitchen side. Now, Olafmeister did change his direction over towards Catwalk, but he's just creeping up. Now over at bench, and he does finally get spotted out. And that's going to be JW trying to make a little bit of noise, pull the distraction. Olafmeister going to take the peek, and he's going to be able to take him down. So a nice job there in that 2v1 from Fnatic, just using their peaks to their advantage.
As you said before, though, Fnatic actually almost really screwed that up because they had gotten a lot of misinformation as to where that final player was actually situated. It almost seemed like there was a call that mentioned he was already inside of market, like they had spotted him previously, so they draw their attention to that. Thankfully, again, someone relocates to bench and they're able to spot him, but that could have gone a completely different direction if they just focused all their eyesight over towards market.
Well, they threw this really, really nice smoke wall over in the B-bomb site as well, but it actually hindered their progress as well because that player was able to turtle up behind the bench for so long. I believe that was actually Rush that was back there, and he picked up 2 kills from the backside as well.
It's going to be Olafmeister, though, coming in, finding 2 opening picks, dropping both Daps and Naf in order to take both of them down. Now they press their way forward, leaving it down to a 3 versus 5 at this point, but Fnatic definitely in full control. And for Conquest, there's no way they can rotate into this A site. Fnatic take control far too fast. There's nothing the remaining Conquest players are going to be able to do.
Olafmeister, he's still hungry for some more. He gets those 2 opening picks, and he just rushes all the way into CT spawn. He's going to flash his way through the smoke, but Shazam is there with the AWP on the other side, just waiting for him to make that little bit of a mistake. But that's okay because they've got plenty of money now on the Fnatic side, and losing this round Conquest, they need to have all 3 of these players alive if they want anything to go into the next round with. That's the biggest part about this because 3 can drop 2, 2 can't drop 3, and that's especially in this situation where their economy is so wounded.
The rest of Fnatic, though, when you take a look at both Dennis and Flusher, they're actually fairly low as well. And necessarily speaking, Fnatic aren't in too secure of a position just as of yet, so they're going to be sticking outside of this. Won't be hunting down those final rifles again. There's that confidence coming into play from Fnatic here, too, as they know they should be able to close this out regardless of the buys Conquest will be bringing into this round. Thankfully, the reinvestment comes in, but no other rifles, just the 3 that they've saved. And it'll be CZs for both Daps and Naf as the final 2 players.
So moving on in here, like you said, you do have armor pistol buy on 2 of the players. The other 3 that did manage to save their rifles after that last round are going to be looking relatively good moving forward. But the biggest part about this right now is they're just neutralizing Shazam's position. Now, he has been effective with the AWP in some of these rounds, but the impact of his frags were a little bit too little, too late in a lot of these situations. So the mid control, they're not really putting a whole huge presence on the T side in mid. They're just fanning out and trying to push into these choke points, you know, with a 2-man squad. You can see, actually, look up at the B halls right now. We are going to switch over. Daps throws a nice pop flash, but he's not even able to get the kill. Takes Dennis down to 8 HP, but because they've got that buddy system, they were able to trade that kill out. Shazam and Stanislaw are going to be able to find a pair themselves, so they are battling back into this round, but Stan on 8 HP, going to be a tough spot.
And now the members of Fnatic are going to have to figure out what exactly is going on in this A side. Olafmeister, again, finding the great entry to get himself outside of here. Picks up the nade kill, but doesn't realize there is a player working his way back in over there through CT, so Shazam may have an opportunity just as yet to connect some of these shots, but unfortunately, with Olafmeister slowly ripping everyone apart, now Naf just rolls in, picking up the first kill. JW fast on the trade, and just going to be Shazam. He never actually makes any forward momentum, too, as his teammate tries to press forward, so he still has basically no ground to work with, but Dennis is going to give him an opportunity, and now trying to let out that final one, switches over to the pistol. It's him versus JW, the up-on-up battle. JW looking for the peak. They both missed their connections. 20 seconds left. No bled coming off as of yet. Now JW down at 5 HP. Shazam just trying to finish him off, but he's wasting time here, too. JW needs to get that kill. Shazam going to miss the crossfire, but as he rolls out, they got the pistols. Now JW is trying to pay it up, but he misses again, and Shazam closes it out.
What the hell just happened? I have no idea what just happened right there. That was just a battle of the ages right there between those 2 players. That was absolutely insane. And again, watching it on the replay here, JW hits that nice flick shot. Shazam just closes it out finally in this 2v1. He did lay the wallbang down, but if JW would have hit that shot with only 5 HP and clutched it out against Shazam, that would have been absolutely detrimental to Conquest. Now, granted, they are losing by 4 rounds, but Shazam's going to get a golden opportunity here in mid because they're finally putting some presence here from Fnatic.
JW, big mistake from him. He wasn't even looking. What is Fnatic doing right now? They're just walking out in the open. There's not even anything to counter out Shazam like they were doing in some of these previous rounds. Finally, we see a smoke coming in, but it's actually misplaced. And because the smoke that's set up back there on Cat, Fnatic have no clue that they've actually messed this smoke up right now. Thankfully, I think they drop Olafmeister down, and he should be able to tell if this setup is not perfect. So that's going to hold Crims back, hopefully. But nope. Thankfully, Shazam had to deep-peek, and that's going to give Crims the room he needs to press forward and pick up the headshot to finally take him out there in the window room.
Yeah, but this flank coming out from Rush, he's going to come out from underneath, and Stanislaw getting aggressive in the B halls is going to be able to find Crims as well. So Dennis, your last man standing, was able to get at least one trade here, but it's going to be a very difficult task for him. And again, look at how aggressive they are up here in the B halls. Rush is all the way at the very end, so he could surprise him by playing this forward position, and he is going to stay up here in the hallway right now. But I believe he's actually looking the wrong way, thinking that this player is going to come all the way around from catwalk, and he actually shows himself. He spotted Dennis.
I think Rush, yeah, Rush,
he had to.
Rush has noticed Dennis, but it's not the other way around. Oh,
never mind.
Though. Back up those steps. That's a nice little headshot there.
He could get into B and get the bomb plant as well, because the CTs are so far disengaged from this, relying on that forward information from Rush. So now Naf going to try his hand.
And Dennis just waiting this out. The problem becomes, though, Fnatic have been playing this far too slowly, and now he doesn't really have a whole lot of time. He has to get aggressive and look for these final 2 frags, but Naf is going to be sitting up in an elevated position. He'll be able to shut out Dennis there. And that, again, will be another round going towards the direction of Conquest as they continue to try and forge their way back into this game.
Yeah, so Conquest now on 4 rounds to 7. Looking to at least make this a close half, and they've got an opportunity here because they finally pretty much dwindled down that economy from the Fnatic side. You can see they're going to be on 4 pistols and an AK here, all with head armor, but a limited amount of nades to work with. So they've only got 1 smoke, so a fast execution towards A is out of the question. You don't have a smoke for stairs or connector. You don't have a smoke for jungle side, maybe just 1 for CT, but that's a pretty big gamble, especially with Shazam. They don't know that he doesn't have an AWP this round, but with him being over towards jungle side, you don't want to take into that site with that kind of a limited buy. But now you can see they're actually going to go for this, and JW going to find Stanislaw. He was completely blinded, and now we see the execution coming out. The pistol comes out from Rush. See what he can do here, because it's still 5 on basically 1 at the site right now, and he's going to go down to Olafmeister's Tech 9. So back in this one, Fnatic.
Yeah, Fnatic have basically already got control of this site too, and this is going to be a very large problem for Conquest now if they even attempt to retake with these final 2 players. Shazam basically was shut down as he attempted to push his way outside of the market room there. And again, we can see Dabs picking up 1 opening kill, but it's almost immediately traded back out. But Dabs being fed some frags there. Both Dennis and Crims trying to forge their way back out. They're going to be shut down. But then Olafmeister coming in with a touchdown shuts down Dabs before any more damage can be done. Fnatic, however, do steal away the round. Well, it was just a force up from them, and that's not going to be good for Conquest.
No, because of that round 1, because of Fnatic taking that one in the B-bomb site, it's going to force the save here onto the CT side of Conquest. So really difficult spot for them to be in right now. And Flush it, he knows it. He's on the UMP 45 right now. He's going to be farming for that cash money to move on forward, because you saw the money is not good on Fnatic's side, and any fatalities that they have in this round is going to put a very limited buy on them moving forward as well. And just rushing the Molotov, Olafmeister, no respect. The backstab.
And he's going to pick up a whole load of kills. But, I mean, as we talk about some of the problems here for Conquest, as we're in a little bit of a lulled round, I mean, we just look at it there in that previous round. They absolutely should have won that eco. The big problem becomes, again, the player that is staying stationary there towards the ban position, just sitting back. He's wide out in the open, so when they rush outside of apartments, he's dead meat already. And then from that point forward, the call that they're actually coming into the site comes out far too late, and the rotations just, even after the call goes out, the rotations are just so slow from Conquest. There's a lot of problems with the team communication aspect and just general movement here from Conquest, so they seem to be very timid to make any sort of big movement around the map that's really impeding them from picking up quite a few of these rounds now.
Yeah, and the big thing about that is that it's so unpredictable playing against Fnatic, because they don't respect your gameplay until you make them. And right now, the pistol's actually doing some work here. Daps with the CZ is going to be able to find one. Stanislaw did at B as well, but he's going to fall to Crims, and we're going to be back onto a 3 versus 4. But Daps has salvaged an AK-47, and he's been playing relatively well in some of these tough situations. Now we've got a very aggressive push from Shazam. Once again, getting in towards this bomb site. Nafly and Shazam are going to be able to combine to take one down. Rush and Daps combine to take down Flush It. It's all on Crims. What can he do? It's going to be a, well, it was a 3 versus 1. Now it's going to be a 2 versus 1. And Nafly in the backside of this site. He's so good with this Desert Eagle, but he's going to peek the wrong corner at the wrong time. And Crims is going to isolate the 1v1. So again, just a little overextended there on the CT side.
There's a problem there with Naf being that far up, and obviously again Rush is way too far back. Like, he's in a standard position. It's not like he's just a late rotate. He's actually sitting back outside of Cat there. That's a pretty, unfortunately they're counting on Crims rolling back out and actually trying to finish off the final 2 players, which he technically ends up doing. But the setup is just assuming he's going to roll out and go for the plant without a check in the site, which is a bit foolish, and he had 55 seconds left anyway, so it's kind of assumed that he's going to sit back and wait for those final 2 players to come to him, which works out perfectly, and he's able to close out that round, giving Fnatic now a 10th round for themselves.
Yeah, and that, honestly, at first you're looking at it on paper, that's not a round that Conquest should have even remotely been in, but it comes down to that 3v1, and Crims just too strong. Finds them all.
We actually see the double up setup coming in for the T side now over here on Fnatic, as they're going to pick those both up, but you can see him starting to push in. Daps is in a pressured situation, sitting underneath the platform right now, trying to keep himself alive, but Fnatic are stuttered again. There's these flashes coming back out here from Conquest. They're not able to make any forward momentum, and Shazam just ripping into these players left and right. Some good damage has gone into Flusha, and he's managed to execute Dennis. Now Olafmeister trying to turn it back around. He does pick up a kill back by middle, and that's going to shut out Rush. So Conquest are going to have a little bit more to worry about, and they'll have to back out a little bit and give Fnatic room to breathe.
Oh, but Olafmeister, he's walking through this smoke. He's got a player right on the other side, and Naf is going to find him anyway, and now he's going to go for another peek. But look at this. Flusha lines up too. Shazam and Daps goes down, and it just swings all the way back. It's Stanislaw versus 2. So all that work that Shazam and Naf just did got completely negated. Coming around from the side, though, Stanislaw is going to be able to find one. He's in a 1v1 versus Flusha. He knows that he's behind the default plant boxes, so he should be able to get in here and get this frag because Krims is just, he's still sitting behind here. But Krims takes the peek and just rips his head off, and you can see the disappointment on Naf's face at the end of that round.
We talk about Naf and Shazam again, and unfortunately I don't have the exact stats sitting in front of me, but those two again were just making all of the impact, it seemed, for most of these rounds coming out of Conquest. They were the two big fraggers that were able to make the impact that finally allowed Conquest to pick up a few of these rounds, but we just didn't ever see it coming out from a lot of those other guys. There was not a big performance from the other 3 members of the roster. Yeah,
and I apologize, that wasn't Naf, that was actually Stanislaw. That was a little emotional there at the end of that last round, but understandably so. A little frustration there. 4-11 is your score line. Fnatic in control of this one. Big T side half for him. And I honestly don't really see Conquest with... Yes, that is Naf. Thank you very much. I don't really see much of an opportunity here for the CT or for the Terrorist side to get back into this one. And Dennis, well, he's going to make sure they have absolutely no shot at this. Picking up back-to-back-to-back headshots.
Dennis is just having a good old time.
Dennis the Menace.
At top mid right now. Hold on, can he get a fourth? Finally. We see him shut out by Stanislaw there, taking him down. But
where you fall, I will pick you up. And Olafmeister goes right back into Stanislaw. Nafly can't lay it down, and Olaf right around the corner is going to be able to finish that off. So there's a little hesitation there, but Fnatic come out. They win both of the pistol rounds now, and that's just a really tough spot for Conquest to be in right now.
Olafmeister just wanted to slide into your T-spawn there to finish off the final player. So Fnatic again are going to start off this.
I'm blushing.
Are going to start off this half strong for themselves. And for Conquest, we do see the second round vibe because they kind of have to, unfortunately. Yeah. With how far behind they are, they really can't afford to sit back and save for the 4th round. As much as I think they would like to with this sort of strategy they're trying to employ here on this T side, it just won't work. They need to try and get back into this game right now, otherwise Fnatic are going to gain too large of a lead.
And the other big thing is that they didn't, they got 1 kill in the pistol round, no bomb plant. So it would kind of be foolish. There's no reason. They're not going to be able to get a 3rd round buy-in. So they go for this. But Olafmeister and his Mag 7 have something to say. That's going to be 1.
They're lining up.
Oh my god, if he would have taken that shot and gotten like a triple with a Mag 7, that would have been insane. But the flash comes out. He's going to be looking, duck hunting. There's a 2nd one.
And now Flush is here.
There's a 4th. Olafmeister with the 4K. And that is a metric crap load of money that he just earned that round off of 4 Mag 7 kills. But he was just duck hunting in the backside of that site.
This is again the problem from Conquest though, is they're so timid. They just don't really want to seem to make any progress. They're all sitting back. They're trying to hide like, you go first, then you go first, then you go first. Then Fnatic's like, okay, I'll go first. And then they just shut them all down.
Well, they were so scared to go through that smoke in B halls. I really wish Olafmeister would have pulled. Just tap mouse one time and see how much damage that would have done, because that was nuts. But he does get the 4K anyway, and now they're going to go aggressive onto the A ramp side there. So they're playing this no respect style. That flashbang is brutal. But Rush is going to be able to answer back, but they've got another player playing close. That's going to be Krims, who manages to find 2, finds 3. But Daps is going to be able to trade that. But JW from distance is going to be able to take him down with the scout headshot through the wall as well with style points. And that's going to be a 14-4 scoreline now. Fnatic in complete control.
And with the way Fnatic are playing this too, they just want to shut this down. They don't want to let this go any further. They're playing, as you said before, absolutely no respect given a Conquest at all. Pushing into them, rushing them exactly where they're pressing out, and just shutting them down so far in these first couple of rounds. But we now see the vibe coming out from Conquest. And of course, this is going to be their real last chance to try and forge their way back into this game. They drop it here. Fnatic, they're going to be on match point, and for Conquest, well, they're not going to have any money. So
yeah, they got to go for this, 12 rounds in a row to win this map out. And Olafmeister opening things up. They've got the double up set up here on the CT side for Fnatic. They already know that there's going to be one up in Palace, and Krims, he's going to find him. Rush and Connector. Gets dinked, but he does manage to finish off 1. But JW, are you okay?
A little bit of trouble there. He's going to have to go for the repeat.
And he gets it anyway.
Yeah, he manages to correct it, so that's a good little mix-up there on his part. But because this happens, he actually isn't able to rotate into the A side quickly enough, so now we can see Daps actually getting that plant. And if he can clutch this out, That's going to be a nice little boost because he's given a lot of time to get into his post plant. I do think Fnatic...
They know he's there.
Yeah,
JW had to have spotted him when he was crossing over from the jungle side, and they're just going to push on in. He finds the first. Can he get the second one, though, to keep his team alive in this one? No, he cannot. JW finishes him off, and he does have a kit, so the defuse is going to come out, and we're going to be on map point now for Fnatic on Mirage.
Yeah, and I mean, like, honestly, no surprises here. Fnatic obviously playing to their best. One of their bigger maps here, and looking on to the next one here, Inferno. The prospects, unfortunately, are not going to be looking very good at all here for Conquest. They made some good strides on the CT side, but when it's come to this T side, not only do they really just not have enough rounds to play around with, but we're just not really seeing anything on these gun rounds at all here either.
Well, the thing about it, too, is the rounds that Conquest won on their CT side, they won in a pretty big fashion as well. You know, they had 3 or 4 players alive. It looked like, hey, maybe they can string some rounds together, but Fnatic's just, nope. Not going to let it happen. We're just going to answer right back into your guys' faces, and we're going to be able to take you guys down. And now that AWP from JW at the top side of mid, still looking for it. Whoa.
All right. I don't want to AWP here anymore.
I don't. I'm just going to...
I'm JW. I smoke myself out of window.
Not only that, but he got it to stay right on the little lip in the window. That was neat.
So that's obviously, again...
That's the little thing.
Shouldn't really impact too much here because now Dennis is going to be able to roll in there, and he's picking up kills left and right from within side of the A site there, just outside. And we'll see Rush picking up one more response kill to all of this, but still leaving it down to a 3 versus 3 scenario. And Conquest now trying to maybe push their way. They're falling back now, actually, too, as they made some progress towards B, hoping to draw rotation from Fnatic. And to a certain degree, it is going to work, as I believe they're going to bring Dennis a little bit closer. He's not actually going to fully rotate. He's going to come back just outside of cross space.
This is scary.
The problem is, though, is, as they try to re-enter, here's Flushing. He's just ready for this, and he can call this. Even if he does go down, not going to be a big issue, but he's down at 1 HP. Going to try to take down Daps. Daps will find the trade, but now he's alone in this 1 versus 2.
Yeah, and he's also contending against Dennis, who has himself around. 3 kills on that one. 16-4 is going to be map number 1. DE Mirage going the way of Fnatic, and that was actually the pick for Conquest. So a little bit of a rough spot for them to be in, but we're going to be moving forward onto Inferno in just a little bit. Guys, we're going to send it over to our lovely analysts over there. We've got Machine, Anderson, Moses on standby. So take it away, Alex.
Take it away, we shall. Thanks very much, Mega Man and Blue. And a game of lackluster performance from Conquest. We called it. We said it was going to be going the way of Fnatic. And you may have noticed on the way on that fly-in that Sean was so embarrassed by the way Conquest performed. He actually didn't bother to turn up. He's actually completely disappeared. He's actually crying currently into a box of tissues. But how are you guys feeling about that one? Amazingly.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
You said 100%. You said there was quite literally 0% chance of them picking that one up.
I mentioned this when we got into the back room to watch this match, that, you know, when we did predictions before everything started, I mean, it's a bit harsh, but we probably should have just talked about, are they going to get to 10 rounds in these 2 maps?
In these 2 maps? As in
both
combined?
maps. I don't know if they're going to get to 10.
Where are we at now? 3? 4?
4.
Excuse me. Okay.
Well, Inferno is probably going to be worse, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that is the problem. I mean, I don't know. We had a bit of a look at some of the stuff that Olaf Meister was doing, right? How crazy he just like walks out of apartments, just walks into connector, kills everybody. So I don't know, like it's really hard to deal with that if you're Conquest.
Yeah.
And Fnatic actually, because they got started on the T side, we got a little bit of chance to see how they actually did take mid control, smoking off window, Molotoving connector, and there's nothing that Conquest could do to stop that.
Yeah, just very, very efficient.
Yeah, their AWPers get nullified immediately, and they get forced to open CT spawn and B instead. And that's all Fnatic want, mid control.
And I mean, Conquest made quite a statement in that 4th round, just going double AWP straight out of the gates. That was like a...
I love that.
You're a big fan of that. I mean, it's a risk, right? That's a huge risk to get to take.
Yeah, but if you're playing Fnatic, what are you going to do? Like, I actually think that is a reasonable choice. Yeah, yeah. Because what if you fight and win and you shut down JW early on or something like that? Yeah. I mean, Shazam is definitely not a bad offer. So, you know, maybe if he wins the first initial fight, like let's just say he wins 2 fights against JW, when JW has an AWP too. Like, imagine how much leverage that would give them in those rounds, right? But I mean, it doesn't work out, but I still like the idea. It
even comes into the situation then where they won a couple in a row, and they forced Fnatic onto some Tech 9s and some PG50s and some deals, and it's just still steamroll. Yeah. I mean, Olaf just runs through fire and mid, and you can see Conquest is kind of like, all right, we have stairs, Molotov, no one's going to be coming through, like, at least we can turn our attention elsewhere. And then, of course, Olaf just comes right through with the Tech 9 and just barrels into the defense. So he's looking very content about that right now as well. So
he's
it's just like, what are you going to do?
Self-satisfied.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, that's right. I am a boss.
It's what we do.
It's what they do. Fnatic just here to kind of pocket themselves the 100,000 and walk away from this one. Of course, there's a lot of steps to take for that one. First being second map. Map 2 will be played out on Inferno, and you guys were very critical of Inferno being available for Fnatic to pick that one up. I just want to, like, Anders, can you just explain a little bit about why that feels like such a foolish decision to make coming up against Fnatic?
I mean, it's always been one of their strongest maps. It's been like them and Envy and the XTSM team have always been very good. Fnatic were traditionally very good at playing this map on the CT side, but they were also very good on the terror side with Pronax. I think Flush is still keeping up with a lot of that. I don't think there's been like a huge drop-off in the T-side play. What's really scary is now Crims has really been showing up lately, and him in the B-bomb side it's insane. I mean, you're not going to go into B if you're playing Crimson North in that bomb side. You're just not.
B is close.
So, yeah,
was that what you said?
Yeah, it's not an available option.
Yeah,
especially because at times I'm not sure. Most recently with Dennis coming in, but I know that for times it was Crimson Olaf playing in the B-bomb site, and then it's like it's really like half the map is gone. Then you have JW, and it's like, is he going to get aggressive down mid? Is he going to get aggressive in halls and window? Like, what's going to come from that? And that's the big thing too. JW being a mobile opper, there's so many places on this map you can go with an AWP. I mean,
this is just a recap.
It's just like. I mean,
it's like he's at the carnival. He's just like saying whack-a-mole.
He's skeet shooting, basically. It's just like throw him in the air, knock him down.
What I actually am interested in, Moses, maybe you can help us out with this. What can they learn from this Conquest? Because I mean, we kind of knew already there wasn't going to be much of a chance here. So what can you take away from a match like this if you are sort of an up-and-coming NA team? Because they've had some really good results, Conquest, in the NA scene, right? They're not just nobodies in that sense.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and that's I think what. Okay, first thing you learn is you don't pick Mirage against Fnatic.
All right, that's an instant lesson.
Like, I don't know why that is still a lesson that needs to be taught, but let's just go back to it. We'll revisit it from earlier, like this entire year. But also part of it, too, is it's almost like they didn't realize that, like, because they said the reason we pick Mirage is we know they're good on it, but we feel really good on our Mirage. And it's like, yeah, you feel good on Mirage against North American teams. Like, you can't take that same mindset into playing against Fnatic. Like, you just can't, and it goes that way for any map. Is, you know, at times North American teams, and it's just endemic of having a shallow map pool. They're like, we have to pick maps that we're confident on, and it's like, well, when it's one of their best maps, like, you're playing right into their hands.
Yeah. So this is that false confidence thing that I brought up previously, where it's just like North American teams, they have this kind of obscured view of what their strengths are because they're strengths against North American teams. However, they probably have a different set of strengths up against the European roster. I mean, they might not be so obviously available, but there must be, there is definitely, you know, some glimmers in the rough, you know, diamonds in the rough, whatever. With this Conquest roster, they've already said that they're a strong bunch of individuals. However, that's the same thing we're saying about Fnatic, and I mean, where do they scale up? You're saying, yeah, they're strong. Conquest have got a pretty good, you know, they've got a good core roster. I mean, the synergy isn't a problem. We talked about it before. They've got that core 3 from Denial not too long ago, and
leadership, I guess. But
leadership?
that goes for the whole North American scene right now, isn't it?
And it's not even in terms of tactical.
Yeah.
It's in terms of a leader who's going to be able to actually direct your team in practices, make sure everyone's focused. Like, you can throw tactics out the window. Don't even worry about them for right now. But when are we going to have a team with a leader that steps up and is like, we need to do this, we need to do this, and it's going to suck. It's not going to be any fun, but we need to put the work in now to have some kind of an impact, you know, later at the tournaments. And I mean, it's these things too where just like small mistakes, like you just can't make these many small mistakes against these top teams because they're going to punish it. I mean, you look at Liquid, perfect position to win that Cobble match. They drop a 5-on-3 against Pistols. Like, you open up the window for any of these teams, Fnatic, Envy, they're so good on every single round with every gun. Any kind of window of opportunity, they're going to capitalize on it.
When we get Sean back, and I'm sure we will, we should definitely revisit this whole leadership conversation.
I was about to say, you triggered something there.
Because if you're saying Sean is the perfect example of someone who is like a very good tactician, and has like a lot of, but maybe like lacks some of the leadership skills. I'd love to.
I tell you what, we'll do some magic. Are you ready for this? Let's go ahead and see what Conquest had to say when they came into this one, and if we're lucky, maybe Sean will decide to join us back on the safe. We'll be back in a minute.
Needles.
We actually started off the season 1-5 in 12th place. Managed to come back with 15-7 record, so pretty insane comeback seeing as the season started out pretty bad. Well, we went through a bit of a roster change, brought in Stanislaw, who's like a nice teammate of mine, and it's like helped tremendously. Like, him and Daps just do like so much homework for the team. We seriously took every single match as intense as we could and brought us here to LAN. Once you like build some chemistry together, you subconsciously know what your teammate's gonna do and how you can react off it, and you just play better off your teammates the more you play with them. We're going up against Fnatic. We've done our homework, but we're mostly focusing on playing our own game. We can't really say like, oh, we got the hard team first. Like, if we want to win the tournament, we have to beat every team. So, pretty ready. I'd love to see Luminosity do well. They just came off like a recent amazing performance. I'd like to see them keep that up. Prove to people it's not just like a one-time thing. I'm just really excited to play CS. I love to compete. I love LAN 101.
Shazam there just saying he really wants to play CS, and you better believe he's here. Sean Gares, thank you so much for joining us, mate. You obviously were just not interested in talking about
Well,
map,
I figured
map
if all of North America isn't showing today, why should I?
It's perfect.
Wow.
He plays
There we
it
go.
so well.
Oh, look at that.
That's good,
Cool
that's
as a
good.
cucumber. So, dude, we were having a conversation, and Anders and I were like, hang on a second, we were just talking about this. A lack of leadership in North America. That was the kind of main point. We were like, okay, Conquest have got some pretty strong individuals. What are they lacking? And that was the main point.
It was more than that. I was trying to throw you under the bus a little bit, Sean, because my theory has always been in this Cloud9 team that you recently departed.
Yeah.
That you were doing a lot of the tactical stuff. Like I know how much you watch demos and everything.
Yeah.
But that like on the leadership front, like when for someone to like pick up the team and be like, look, you know, you guys are doing exactly what I'm saying right now.
Yeah.
And if you're not, then you know there's going to be hell to pay. Like that kind of leadership.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like there's a lot of left. The only people really that, I mean, maybe not the only, but the few people that I can think of are like maybe Dazed and Steel, and they go like so far on the other side that maybe people eventually say, "Oh, I can't play with these guys anymore because it's too much," right?
Quite abrasive.
But then you've got not a lot in between there. So I don't know.
It's a weird spot for North America because there's not a lot of people playing right now that are in-game leaders and are respected, which is the biggest thing. You have to have respect out of your teammates if you're going to yell at them and kind of criticize, not yell at them, but like criticize them for the mistakes they make in a given round. And those players just don't exist right now in the scene outside of like Dazed and Steel, like you said. So, I mean, when I felt comfortable to criticize my teammates, and because I would criticize myself verbally, like you have to criticize yourself as a leader too. And I don't know if that person exists right now in the North American scene. I haven't gotten to listen to the comms of the other teams to find that out though.
So the hunt begins then for like a kind of someone to step up to the plate for that one. We have got to do predictions now though, guys. Come into this one. I think it's very clear where we're going to be going, and I think we're going to be seeing quite a lot of similarities in these predictions. But why don't you start with you, Anders? Give us a score just to keep it spicy. You said they're not going to get 10 rounds, Moses. So I mean, that's
Well, in the
tough.
two maps, so they can
Combined.
only.
Yeah, so they won't get 6 here basically.
So you're saying under
I
6?
I think like more like. I think I'm going to give them 4 rounds in this one. I think. Yeah,
okay.
something similar.
I think it's all going to depend on who wins the knife round. Is the big thing. Is just how many rounds, not who's going to win, just how many rounds are they going to get.
Okay.
If they start on CT, they could, you know, get up towards 8, 9, maybe 10 rounds. But I mean, if they start on T side, it's just going to be a bloodbath.
Because you're suggesting there's a big stop sign outside B, and they're going to be limited to half the
There's
map.
just a stop sign everywhere, really.
All right. Inferno, Sean, is this going to be a stompy second map?
Yeah, I can't see Conquest getting more than 10 rounds this map. I have a little bit more rounds than Jason, but I mean, you can't count them on more than one hand. So.
Okay, so we've giggled our way through the analysis of map 1 and going into map 2. It's going to be Conquest versus Fnatic, guys. The scene is set for the Swedes to start strong, and to bring you the casting, it's going to be Mega Man and Blue. Take it away, you cuties.
Alrighty, thank you once again, Machine, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to get started with map number 2. Once again, my name is Blue. Joining me here is Mega Man, and well, that couch just is giving Conquest no breaks, are they?
They aren't pulling any punches on this one whatsoever, and I can't honestly say that I blame them too much. Now, again, I agree with Moses on this. I think it's a matter of how many rounds is Conquest going to get. I don't think that anybody with any stretch of the imagination is going to bank on them being able to take Inferno. Now, in the past, we've seen Conquest with a pretty strong CT side on Inferno. So it's really going to come down to this knife round right here. If they can get the pick of the litter, if they can start off on the CT side, could they do the damage? Could they have that good CT side half to maybe enable themselves? But then again, it's also going to rely on them picking up a pistol round victory as well, which they have failed to do in the first map.
That is a lot of ifs.
A lot of ifs.
That is a lot of ifs.
I mean, when you're playing a team like Fnatic, they don't really deal in ifs. They deal in absolutes, and it's been an absolute massacre so far.
All right, guys, so we are live into the knife round now, and it's going to be over here, our second map on Inferno. So we'll take a look at who takes the side start, and this could have a pretty big sort of leaning advantage to decide who is actually going to end up getting the opening advantage here. What is this? What is this little duel? And yeah.
Dennis ruined.
All right.
Ruined. Kappa Ross.
Well, that's going to happen. And of course, now Fnatic, once again, they get their side choice to start things off. Now, what was interesting, if I actually remember correctly, back on Mirage, they win the knife round, but then they choose T side start.
Right. Well, that's one of the things that you see Fnatic do, especially when they're playing up against a team that they're not really familiar with. They'll take the aggressive side because then they can dictate the pace of the matchup. They don't have to really worry about, you know, what are the CTs going to be playing as far as their setups are concerned on the CT side, because we don't care. We're just going to be pushing in. You saw it, full force with the Olafmeister pushing that Molotov with a Tech 9 and killing 2 guys in the back on an anti-eco round. You know, big things like that is where they can dictate the pace. So honestly, I don't foresee them taking terrorist side on Inferno. I think that would be a little bit foolish for Fnatic, but again, they're a team where they're pretty much even their side picks are going to be unpredictable.
Yeah, so we're just going to have to wait and see and wait to see how that begins here. But for Conquest, they've got a very large path set out ahead of them. Now, what's interesting is we take a look at Conquest, and again, Conquest are one of the very few teams in North America. Well, I actually say few. It's actually not becoming that uncommon anymore, but they're one of the teams in North America. I should actually say that starting off T-side over here on Inferno, they actually can make quite a bit of an impact starting off there. People like Shazam 2 are actually one of the few players that actually dare to try and pick up an op pretty consistently on this T-side, where it punishes you quite a bit if you mess up even in the slightest degree. So we'll see if he chooses to do that here in this match today. I can hear from that video, they want to play into their own, so we'll see if that'll be the case. But
well,
this is not going to be the best start.
Wall at B, and it starts with Olafmeister.
That's
headshot.
the first stop sign, as Moses would say.
That is one of the big ones right there. And again, it's going to be now what do they do? All right, we went for that early aggression. You can actually see Olafmeister is pushing down Banana, but JW is going to be able to find one flush as well, and that's going to be Rush finally answering back. He's got the boss buy, the raid boss buy coming in here, but JW again from the pit. He's going to deny it. They at least get the plant down, which is, you know, decent enough in its own right. But
they want the knife.
Oh, there it is though. JW, you can hear him wooing in the
Respect.
background. JW is going to take him down with the knife. They're going to get the Tech 9 out of it as well, and that's just insult to injury right there. That's 3 pistol rounds now in Fnatic's favor over 2 maps.
You know what JW also did there? He took the silencer off his USP.
Did he? Was that? I thought he had a P250.
No, he
it's
hit the
hard to see
silencer
the
of his
monitor
USP.
the way that it's lean,
Yeah.
but
You can tell it from the sound, man. That's a sound you don't hear very often, and when you do...
that's something Forrest used to do all the time, especially on Nuke. Yeah.
So immediately Fnatic will go for their investments here in the second round. It looks like Dennis actually is not going to go for an upgrade just to save a little bit of cash. He'll stick the Tech 9, but for the rest of these guys, we're going to see 2 P90s coming into the picture, and then 2 more M4s as part of the usual course sitting on both JW and Olafmeister. But here comes that smoke back over there. We can see a couple of players from Conquest trying to contest that, but won't be able to do so for very much longer, as now that smoke comes into play, Olafmeister going to fall back. He knows that avenue safe, and for the time being, it doesn't look like Conquest are really going to be trying to push into that.
Now, I want to take a running tally of how many times Conquest tries to take B and how many times they actually get the bomb down, or even get past Haycart in B. Because if that B hold is as strong as Moses is claiming that it is, then it shouldn't even be remotely close to them even smelling that bomb site. But again, they're going to revamp their strategy. They're going to pick up the bomb from T-ramp, and they're going to push their way up towards the A bomb site. And this, not necessarily the wrong call, because it is a pretty standard CT site setup with 2 at B and 3 at A, but they've pushed one down in Banana, and they're already starting to rotate a player over. Nice dink, though. Flush is going to get tagged down, but top side of mid, Dennis with the Tech 9 just going to go ahead and wreck them.
And there's that reaction, again, we're not seeing things communicate as quickly as they need to be from the side of Conquest there. The reaction is just very slow from everybody on Conquest to try and take out that single player from Fnatic. He's allowed to just go crazy. He wraps back around there through porch side, and he picks up way too many kills before he finally is shut down by somebody on that team.
Yeah, so 2-0 for Fnatic, but because of that first round bomb plant, we are going to be seeing Conquest on this early AK buy. And you can see they've kind of sensed this a little bit because Dennis is going to be the one with the big green in his hands. He's got the op. They stuck with 2 P90s. That's going to be Crims playing with Olofmeister at B and Flusha at the top side of mid. But you can see already the flashes and the smokes down to the bottom side of B, and we're going to be seeing this push come in, and Nap is going to meet his demise early on. Rush, he goes back into Fnatic's JW, but that's going to be the P90 now in the hands of Crims, and he's just going to hold down mouse 1 and AD spam. Shazam gets tagged down, 1 HP for him, 7 for Rush, but they've still got Olofmeister around the corner to contend with. And he's going to go ahead and deploy the smoke, hide behind it for a second and see. Oh, he actually pushes through it, so this is really cheeky.
Conquest, you can see they're still actually trying to decide if they want to go through with this or not, but it seems to be them leaning towards falling back and trying to make another avenue in towards the A site. Even that is going to be a pretty hard task to accomplish because while all this B action was going on, we saw basically no one trying to push towards alternate mid or anything such as that to try and get maybe inside of the apartments or even try to get through the choke point. So they have no clue what's sitting over on that A site. With all the time they've sort of wasted here now as well, they actually don't even really know what Fnatic is going to do in terms of their rotations. They still have 3 players to work against, and they haven't hit a single point of damage on any of those 3 players.
And here's another big thing too, is Olofmeister salvaging his smoke off of his comrade's body, is able to smoke off the top of Banana with 37 seconds left in the round. So this is massive. This stalls him out so much. Now they're going to have to push this smoke if they want to do anything in this round. He's still got counter flashes. He's going to see that smoke come around the corner towards the top side of B. And now he's going to be able to throw that pop flash out. Stannis gets blinded. He's going to hold this single angle. He's going to be able to take down 1, 2, and 3. And now it's going to be Daps all by himself with 15 seconds against 2.
And Daps, again, should be able to get himself the plant going here, but Fnatic won't have too much trouble with the retake. Daps doesn't really have anything to hold it back, but he picks up the first one, looking for the second, but just barely. Flusha hopping in there, trying to screw up the aim as much as he can. Is going to be able to win this one. He'll close this one out, and what the heck is he doing? He's just having a good old time here before he
got a kid, so he's got plenty of time, but that is going to be Fnatic picking up the first gun round. A little bit closer than I thought it was going to be, but again, they didn't have the full rifle buy that they would have normally had, but you can see, looking stern in the background there, Flusha, the last man standing, going to be able to find that kill. And it finishes off the round. So Fnatic up 3-0. It's going to reset the economy here from the terrorists out of Conquest. But with that bomb plant, that gives them the opportunity to buy up some armor here as well. And without breaking their bank account either, you can see Daps actually has a Tech 9 in armor and still had $2,300 going forward into this round. So that's not necessarily a bad thing here because they might be able to do some damage. But this time it's 4 M4s instead of 2 with 2 P90s.
Now we see Conquest, they start themselves off by trying to make some progress towards B. What Shazam actually finds an opening frag over here. Olofmeister playing it too close to the mid-choke point. He is shut down, and Shazam almost gets himself into a little bit of a battle as well with Dennis, but falls away from this one. He's going to have to be careful on a repeat because that op presence is now going to be there by mid-choke, and I think he is actually suspicious of this to some degree because the first player he takes down does not have that on him when he eliminates him. So now he's going to peek it, but that just walks right into Dennis's crosshair. So he finds the first one, misses the connection on the second one, and now the floodgates are open for Conquest to try and press their way in. Rush 2, getting himself up to balcony. Currently, they've got a player watching this, but he's a lot more focused on the porch wrap, so that could throw them off to some degree, but the progress is being made very, very slowly here. And again, you have to keep in mind exactly what Conquest have to work with here, which is not a whole lot.
Well, they've slowed down so much, they've stalled out this push. They do manage to smoke things off, and JW gets taken down by Rush. That was the balcony player. Now, Dennis, look at this. He gets really aggressive. He had fallen back into sight. Flusha picks up 2. Now Dennis moves back around towards the boiler side of top mid. So this is kind of a really interesting play. They're probably not even predicting that there's going to be a guy on truck side so quickly into this round. This is really, really impressive stuff from Dennis. A, that he's been able to stay alive this long, and B, that he hasn't even taken any damage. So now he's going to come around from truck side. He's going to go to battle, but Flush is going to be able to pick up one. That's Stanislaw, and now it's all on Rush in a 1 versus 3. That bomb not planted for him. He's going to be able to find one more kill, but Flush with the 4K on the round, and Fnatic, that was a little close for comfort for them.
Yeah, Conquest are slowly making progress here to being able to pick up a round. So if this pace continues, we may finally be able to see them sort of breaking the chain eventually. But then the problem for Conquest becomes the consistency and being able to string those numerous rounds together on T side, because obviously Fnatic are a team that can easily be able to adapt to a lot of these situations, and well, if one of their strategies is trumped, then they can just, you know, go for another one here and try something different, and then Conquest have to start that process all over again if they don't immediately figure it out.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, is the adaptation from the Fnatic side. It's like we touched on before. If you don't force them to respect you, they're not going to in any facet of their gameplay. And right now, they haven't had a call to respect anything that Conquest is doing, and you can see that they've been doing that with their strategies getting revamped all the time. And look at this, already into this gun round, Shazam is at 56 health and Nap is at 1 HP. There's another shot through. Stanislaw down to 66 and Shazam down to 8. These double hops are just, or this single op from Olofmeister has just wreaked so much havoc to him. He finds one through the smoke. That's Shazam down and out, and he's still got utility to burn, literally.
It's actually interesting. I think that first shot that he fired, I'm not even sure if you
Collateral?
Yeah, it looked like a collab,
Through the
didn't
wall,
it? Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't even know if you could do it from that spot,
yeah.
but
You can
looks
stand
like,
both sides.
looks like he hits it, and he basically hits a guy in the head there too. So that's what brings Naf down to exactly 1 HP. So already here, Conquest are being very weakened by that. And we were talking about the B side hold before, just back out towards Banana. They're held back from this one, and not just this too, but you can just see the Conquest, they don't even want to try to go forward about it. They're just sitting back. They're just kind of hesitant. Nobody, again, wants to try and make that progress, even though there's literally nothing there from Fnatic right now. They're so slow about it. They're so scared. And this is becoming a huge problem here for the guys on the T side.
And the big thing is they're not even getting the opportunity to make any progress right now. You saw Dennis, I mean, he wide peeked down mid with an M4 and finds that frag and takes down Daps. So now the execution comes in, but we've got a forward position from Crims. He's going to be able to spray down one. Olafmeister is there, but Nafly is going to get cleaned up because he's so low on HP to begin with. And you can see they're having a good time over there. JW having a little giggle.
JW is literally like just having fun with this game right now. I think most of Fnatic are, to be honest.
I can't really say that I blame them because this is the kind. I mean, you don't want close matches. Close matches get you tilted. Close matches get the blood going. These big blowouts. This is where you have the most fun, unless you're Conquest.
The first game was like, okay, let's figure out this team real quick. Let's see how good they really are. And then coming into the second game, it's just, all right,
we're good. We're good.
We
now.
got this, guys. No problem. Just pug. All right, so now we see again the guns coming into the hands of the members of Conquest, but Fnatic are ready for the mid-choke push, and it's already 3 kills being shut down. The 4th and the 5th come out very swiftly after that, and another round ends just like that. And still, not a single round on the board here for Conquest.
Yeah, just a mow down in mid, not a lot that they can do. That was a full gun round, but I don't know if you saw, actually, from the instant replay there, Daps, Rush, and Naf just got annihilated by a grenade in mid. I think that every single one of them, it was a double nade across mid. And that's something that I actually noticed in the very first gun round that Fnatic did, was they threw a nade from port side and 2 nades over from the arch side. That time I think it was just a single nade from each side, but it did so much damage. They were so softened up by the time that they got to the top side of mid. Now you see some alt mid aggression from JW. This is the JW that we're used to seeing. Playing with full confidence. He picks up a second one. He's got one more down there at the bottom of the stairs, but there's another player around the corner, and he just re-peeks it anyway.
Not even doing it with an op either, just doing this with a rifle, just casually walking up. All right, window
Just
room,
JW
find a kill,
things.
fall back. Someone's probably going to try to push me back up the T-steps. Got him too. Just nothing going wrong here at the moment, and unfortunately Conquest, it's becoming an issue probably of morale for these guys too, because it's almost every single round where they're just cut down to a single player that doesn't decide to go aggressive at the beginning of the round. Yeah, and then it just becomes this situation. This is a mind game to some degree being played by Fnatic. Fnatic could easily just walk right in and kill this guy with no trouble whatsoever, but they're actually like,
Crims.
they're actually lasting these situations out a little bit more, just so it's a little bit more detrimental to Conquest and their morale, because you could just see it from their faces from the cameras. Conquest are in a horrible mood. Fnatic are all smiles and laughs right now.
I can't say that I blame them. Obviously, they're having a good time right now, but 7-0 the scoreline. We're approaching midway of the first half, and Fnatic in complete control of this one. And again, it's Olafmeister with the AWP over at the B-bomb site. JW does get naded up. Actually, he gets taken down, so Rush going to find the opening for Conquest. So this is the best start to a round that we've seen out of Conquest so far in this first half.
And now, as they try to press their way forward here again, it becomes that big issue of getting themselves up Banana successfully, but it's immediately going to be put to a halt there as Olafmeister picking up a first kill on a Naf. More of these players try to press forward, but as we can see, Shazam is going to be shut down there by Crims as he gets himself sitting up on top of Car, able to shut out yet another one of these guys, and this is probably just going to hold Conquest back by that much larger of a margin. They're still not able to find any progress, and they're slowly being hunted down player by player here as Olafmeister and Dennis pick up the 2 players back over here outside of mid-choke, and once again back up on Banana.
Conquest are just very, very disorganized right now on their terrorist side. And the big thing about it is, usually it's Fnatic that are getting that opening pick, and mentally that's just going Conquest saying, oh, well, what do we do now? Last round they got the opening pick, and that's the first time they'd been in that situation, so they thought, well, what do we do now? We got the pick. Where do we go? Well, not into Olafmeister, not into Crims, because that's where the stop sign is at B. And again, this time, now you see JW again re-aggressing into the alternate mid. So they're switching up the pace, but again, Crims at B finds Stan's Law.
The thing with JW is he's actually not necessarily, just not yet. He's not going for this kind of aggression like every single round just from the get-go here, so I would like to see Conquest try and investigate inside of the apartments a little bit more, because it's either been just trying to push up Banana and unfortunately not going very well at it, or trying to make some sort of push as well just through the mid-choke point. They haven't really been exploring apartments as a very big option, and at least at the beginning of this round, again, they're trying to play it slow, they're trying to wait out members of Fnatic, but they're just finding them in locations where they haven't expected them from before, and are slowly shutting them out. Again, 4 kills to 1 so far it's been traded out, and it's just down to Rush and Daps.
Yeah, well, they are answering back a little bit. We are down to a 2 versus 2, but that's going to be Dennis peeking right where JW actually fell from. So they're going to be able to refrag right there. And now Dennis intelligently falls back into sight. Krims, he's got the bomb down at the bottom side of Banana. So if Rush can actually intercept Dennis at the backside of Moto Pit, he might actually be able to do something. But again, like we talked about, that bomb being down at the bottom side of Banana, not a whole lot that Rush is going to be able to do except die, and Krims is going to just decapitate him with that one. So you can see they're still chattering a little bit over there on that side, but again, Fnatic just in complete control of this matchup. 9 unanswered rounds.
Yeah, and that's just, again, at the end of that round, Dennis is just sort of fooling around with Rush there. As he's down to 2 HP, so he knows he's really not going to be able to do anything. He actually just falls back and is like, all right, come chase me, come waste 20, 30 seconds of your time. So even if you do take me down, you may not have enough time to kill the final guy, retrieve the bomb, and do whatever else you try to do there. So it's just set up there from Fnatic.
Olafmeister on 12-3 right now. He's having a match, and then Flusha behind him at 11-2. So these players, high impact for them. And now JW, he's got plenty of money. Why is he on a Mag 7? Well, it's probably a good thing.
Because why not?
Because he's going to find one, drops the nade around the corner. Oh, I'm surprised that nade didn't actually kill him. I don't think he got the connection, but Dennis lines him up and lays him down. That's the bomb carrier down as well. It's going to be Rush to fall next, and Daps goes down to the hands of Flusha. And again, JW, I think for the last 3 or 4 rounds, JW has been the only one to die on the Fnatic side. You can see 3 deaths across the board, max for the rest of the players. Dennis at 8-3, 13-3 for Olafmeister, 6-1 for Krims. He hasn't had to do anything. 12-2 for Flusha. And the reason that JW's so low on money is because he's died 6 out of the 10 rounds. But again, it doesn't really matter.
Everybody else,
it doesn't really matter.
They're high class, man.
Well, he's allowing the others to drop him guns so that they don't cap on money. He's really being the nice guy JW right now.
So there's going to be a lot more aggressive pressure coming up Banana this time. Krims able to hold back Naf initially, but now the smokes come back out, and immediately Conquest almost just freeze here. Dap trying to find a way through. Krims gets the peek, takes him down, but there is going to be Stanislaw coming back in there to find a trade for it. Shuts out Krims, still keeps it in the favor of Fnatic, but they are making progress. Now it's about getting onto that site. They haven't done it yet, and it may not happen here as Flusha shuts out Stanislaw, and that is immediately going to kill the progress as everybody from Conquest just goes back to Crossroads.
Yeah, and that's the big thing too. And look at JW. If they even think about going alternate mid, and that looks like where they are going, at least for the time being, and JW actually peeks out with the USP and finds Rush. Shazam falls immediately afterwards to Dennis, and you can see obviously they're still laughing and having a good time. Not so much on the Conquest side.
It's all falling apart.
Yes, it is. 11-0.
Very slowly, very painfully for Conquest. Things continue to deteriorate, and we're going to see a pause, obviously assuming this is a tactical pause here, but I mean, this is way too late. This should have been done at 6 or 7-0 at the latest.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things is utilizing your pauses at appropriate times is your ability to talk things over, hash things out, but 11-0, you're on the terrorist side. You're already down 11 rounds. There's only 4 rounds left. You're in that infinite money cycle, which you've been in since the 5th round of this match went the way of Fnatic. What do? They're not having any luck at the B-bomb site, which is something that Moses had talked about before, that roadblock that's over there, that Krims and Olafmeister roadblock at B. And the thing is they haven't even gotten into the B-bomb site with the exception of that first gun round, which came down to that P90 spray from Flusha to clutch that one out. Ever since then, they haven't gotten a bomb plant. They haven't even gotten into a bomb site. They've been shut down basically in the bottom side of Banana and middle the entirety of this half. They have had no option of where or what to do. And that's, you know, how do you even think about, okay, what do we actually need to do? Because these guys are just wrecking us at every avenue of the map.
Like, mentally speaking, this pause is great because it gives them a chance to reset. Like I said before, Fnatic were just being absolutely, like almost rude to a certain degree with how much they were trying to just crush Conquest and not give them any room at all to even think or regroup as a team. So this pause is hopefully giving them a chance to do that and recenter and maybe, again, get some of that team synergy back together. But Fnatic is going to continue the same strategies here. They're not expecting to see anything different. JW still goes for the buy-in of the Mag 7, and he's going to be waiting inside the apartments for any sort of aggression.
Flusha down mid finds Shazam, but it should be this Mag 7 to clean up a player over here in the alternate middle. There's a flashbang around the corner, and that's going to be Stanislaw, I believe, at the bottom side trying to peek that one out. There's the Mag 7 battle that we were looking for, but not going to be able to dish out the damage that he was looking for, but the man advantage goes the way of Fnatic to start off this round, and Krims playing on top of the smoke by the hay cart, and he's going to get peeked here in a second. Stanislaw is going to go wide, and he actually finds it with the assistance from Nafly. Flusha does find Rush down middle, so we're on a 3 versus 4, but now they've got to contend with Olafmeister if they want to push in towards that bomb site, and the bomb's still at the bottom of T-Ram.
So if Conquest were to suddenly flip this back around and try to go for an 8 tick, this would have worked great because they've drawn a lot of rotations off from Fnatic. But now Fnatic are going to get aggressive. Actually, Olafmeister messes that up, gives Naf an opportunity to find a kill. However, Dennis quickly responded to that one, able to take it back and shuts down Naf, and then he just continues forward, shuts out Stanislaw here too. Bringing it down to a 3 versus 1, all on Daps, picking up that first frag there to shut out Dennis, but as he presses himself forward, they need to try and get a plan here. As even their buys are starting to suffer here from the side of Conquest. They can't continuously force themselves up, even with the losing bonus. They need to try and find a plan, but even as he works his way on here, he's got to try to find his way through one of the members of Fnatic. He thinks it's open, a big mistake, in comes Flusha, he stops it, but Flusha just tapping, he's playing with him, and he's not even going to have enough time. They're going to wait out this timer, they're going to kill him after the timer so he has no money.
Well, they're going to try, and they've got the pinch on him, JW coming around the corner, but doesn't actually hear him and react in time. He almost actually got him taken down, but again, time expires, round goes the way of Fnatic, 12-0 now, and just not a whole lot that Conquest can do. This is just a really, really tough spot for him to be in. You can see Shazam they don't have any utility for any of these choke points. They've got 4 smokes, which is at least decent, 2 nades and a handful of flashes, 1 Molotov for Naf. Shazam has nothing to offer into this round, even no head armor, and Crims.
If we actually had seen that play out the way that Fnatic wanted it to, where they kill him after the timer expires, that basically would have just been like the icing on the crap cake.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So
big time.
Thankfully, they avoid this. So
they bought a little icing for this round. He's going to be squeezing it out of the noob tube over there, the auto shotgun in the hands of Crims.
Crims is now
the
like,
whole leaf blower coming into effect.
Let me have some fun with a shotgun. JW,
you've
done
had
this
your
enough.
time. Yeah.
Now it's my turn to pick up some free money here. So to start this off, actually, team damage is going to be the name.
That was a spam through the wall.
Oh, was it actually through the wall again? It looked like it was coming from behind him almost for a moment. So Conquest, again, very predictable about this. Applying that pressure over towards B. Fnatic are going to be aware of this one, and Olafmeister shuts out Naf right from the get-go here. The nade comes in,
it was
and the
actually
rifle,
team damage. I apologize.
The rifle goes flying there, and Stanislaw is going to go down due to that. Naf with a bit of a mistake. They're just getting itchy trigger fingers here now as they're starting to shoot their teammates a little bit. So Rush does find the trade there after Flusha manages to take down Shazam. Still leaving it 2-2-1-4. Daps actually takes down Crims before he can pull that gun out. So this is a round where we could possibly see Conquest take it, but they're at a race right now for the B site. Actually, they're going to wait for the rotation. But this may not work, because I think we're going to have Olafmeister investigating this first.
Yeah, and that's the right call from Fnatic. Let Olafmeister go back in there. Make sure that push doesn't come back around from CT side. Yield the plant. You got the numbers, but now they're just going to press back into this A bomb site, and Dennis is going to do the work. JW is going to finish it off, and you can hear him hooting and hollering over there, obviously having a good time. Olafmeister, does he ever smile? I don't know if he ever smiles.
I've seen him smile.
And now we've got an auto sniper in the hands of Dennis. So they're just obviously having a good time here. They're on track for I'm not going to call it. I'm not going to call it because I'm not going to caster curse it. 13-0 is the scoreline right now for Fnatic.
I think that counts.
If
they get around now, I'm going to blame you.
I didn't say it.
All right. You insinuated it, though.
I may have. Okay.
We'll see. Okay, so for Conquest, again, on this round, unfortunately, still no plant situation coming out from them because they decide to wrap it around and try to go for an A site take, assuming Fnatic had rotated. Big mistake there. Fnatic actually really smart to realize that that's going on. But now, again, just being shut down here. Dennis picking up 2 kills. They don't even check Boiler here, so Olafmeister, he's going to find another kill after Naf had taken down Dennis. They roll in. Big mistake. Naf tries to turn it back around, but it's not going to happen. And Fnatic, again, pick up an additional round. 14-0 right now, only losing 2 players along the way that time.
Look at this buy. What? Oh, yes. Oh, my God. I can't believe it's happening. It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. It is absolutely happening. This is absolutely insanity right now. The new meta has been established by Fnatic. It's going to be the 5-man auto shotgun middle push. I've only seen this executed one time in Counterstrike 1.6. It's the old leaf blower strat. They're going to go mow the lawn right down here in the bottom side of mid, and Shazam's going to be the first one to fall victim. If this works out for Fnatic and they win this round, that's ridiculous. Dennis with one as well. Naf all the way back in T-spawn, but coming around from alternate mid, JW finds another one. Finally, Naf answers back. This is insanity right now.
They're starting to trade up the guns a little bit here because some progress is being made by Daps, but immediately it's swung back around by Dennis. And now it comes down to a 1 versus 1, which Naf is actually going to win.
Hey, all right.
They've got a point on the board.
At least they're smiling on the Conquest side. They got to know what just happened because that's absolutely insane that they did that. And it almost actually worked.
1 versus 1 man. A clutch shot from the offer on the side of Conquest that kills it out. So he had a smoke in the way too. But unfortunately, obviously, this 1 round is gained off of probably one of the cheesiest plays Fnatic possibly could have thrown at their opponents. So
Oh, man.
The prospects still look very, very bad indeed for the second half.
14-1 being your halftime score. Going into the second half, Conquest, they're on the back foot right now. Obviously, they need to win a pistol round, which is something that they haven't been able to do so far in the entirety of this matchup. In first map or second map, they've gone 0 for 3 in pistol rounds so far. Chance to go 0 and 4, and if they lose this one, it's pretty much as good as done. If they win this one, it's pretty much just a delay on them losing the match.
And Fnatic already all the way through the apartments, and Krim sitting himself in Boilet, looking for the opening shot. Get some okay damage back over there onto some of the players from Conquest, but not going to be able to shut them out just as of yet. Now they switch up the play a little bit here. The bomb actually pressing its way through mid choke point now, so take a little bit of a risk, but he does not commit to it. The real play once again will be happening back over here towards Banana, and it'll be up to Stanislaw to try to hold this one. He spots it, but he's going to give Louis, he's going to let these guys push into it now because he needs the support of Rush as these players start to work towards it, and thankfully he does, because Rush is going to be good. Picks up that first kill on the flush as the actual take starts.
Yeah, but now they're going to be getting their way over towards the water side here, and the JW is going to be able to find one. Daps, though, with the double, is able to answer back onto this long-range shots, but JW again chimes in, but it's going to be Shazam with one and done. Nafly trades that one out instantaneously, so a little bit of a collective sigh of relief coming out from the now CT side of Conquest, as they're able to pick up their first pistol round of the series. But it comes on the back of some nice shots there from Daps, and then Shazam at the end, at least doing enough to distract for his teammate to clean that one up. 14-2. They need to win out.
Yeah, they have an absolute mountain, like Mount Everest-sized mountain to climb up here if they want to get back into this game. So
with like no oxygen tanks or anything. They're at base camp, yeah.
I'm gonna give them some credit. They can bring oxygen at least, but this is base camp here. Now it's the first trek to get up to the forward base.
Yeah.
And try to establish a foothold here against Fnatic. Like in a more realistic setting, though, as we kind of go away from the funny stuff for a second, I mean, the big problem here is just going to become, obviously, they just don't have any mistakes to make. Even just one loss here is immediately going to put Fnatic on match point, and regardless of how many rounds Conquest have picked up, unless they can miraculously pick up 12 or 13 in a row here to somehow put it onto their own match point, Fnatic is 9 times out of 10 going to be able to win things out.
Yeah, they really shouldn't have too much of a problem because Fnatic is not one of those teams that, you know, gets to a 14-round scoreline in the lead and ends up, you know, losing out a map. But Shazam's going to be able to find first blood. Olafmeister down and out. And now we're going to go back into this one. Nafly onto Flusha, finds that frag, but JW with Wandig is going to be able to take down Nafly. So the trades are coming out a little bit here, but Rush going to be able to drop one more. The P90 from, or actually, pardon me, that was a FAMAS from Shazam. The old Clarion's going to be able to do some work. And finally, Rush takes down Crims. So it's a relatively clean round here for the CT side, with the exception of one player losing their life. But again, obviously, Fnatic still having a good time. 14-3. 11 rounds away from tying it up, Conquest.
This is going to serve as that foundation for Conquest here now, too, because after Fnatic's force, really not going to be able to go for anything too large here in round number 3 of this half, with them only investing towards P250s. They got to save for that first gun round, so Conquest should be good to at least stack something up. That first gun run will be the big test, so Conquest have a little bit of a break, but in their minds, they should be focusing completely on that 4th round, which is coming up right after this, because if that gets messed up, already they're down in the dumps here.
Well, there have been a whole handful of times in the past where we've been casting matches, mainly you and myself, I believe, have seen it a number of times, where a team will actually lose the armor pistol buy in the 2nd round, and then somehow, with even more of a limited buy, they'll end up winning the 3rd round. So never count Fnatic out in a situation like this. We've definitely seen it happen in the past, but again, they're just going to be grouping up for this bum rush in towards the A bomb site, and it's going to be Shazam from Library to hold this one down. Spots the first one, tapping away with the M4. He's doing good trigger discipline on that one, but it's going to get traded out, and Flush is going to find that kill. Now they've got an M4 to work with if they can get into, they do actually get it out of Library, but now coming around the side, they're going to double team Stanislaw. He gets one and done, but in the meantime, Naf actually goes down to Crims. So this is a really tough spot now for the CTs because their forces are spread. Now the bomb is dropped all the way in CT spawn, so that's even more of a hindrance here for the terrorist side of Fnatic.
And JW, after he loses his teammate here, going to come in for the response. That leaves it between him and Rush. Rush transfers from Pit and gets himself inside of the site instead. But now again, the problem here becomes that bomb is still back out towards CT spawn. So JW is easily going to be able to just grab this, make a run for the B site, and the longer it takes Rush to realize this, the more time JW is going to have to get himself into a post plant. Thankfully, Rush catches on to this fairly early. He's actually going to go for the full rotation now. He's going to bite on this. He didn't get intel as to what necessarily was going on towards porch side, but thankfully he's correct. At the same time, though, JW knows exactly where he's coming from, so this is still going to be very, very rough on that retake. The flash does not connect onto JW. And as we see Rush getting closer and closer, it's going to come down to him to try and clutch things out. And he's been very, very cocky this entire game, but now he's actually got to perform at this point. As Rush inches closer and closer, he's going to win that game of shoot him up there, takes him down, and is going to clutch out the round here for the guys on Conquest.
Yeah, JW actually kind of screwing with him there at the end, strafing back and forth, and finally Rush is going to be able to line that one up. But again, I talked about it moments beforehand. They had more success in that round with no investment, just a couple of upgraded pistols than they did in their armor pistol eco round that they had as well. So now we go into a gun round. JW's got money for an op. They got the bomb plant, so they're going to have plenty of nades as well. You can see full nade kits on 4 out of 5 players. A smoke on JW as well for one of those crucial choke points. And now we're going to have this op-on-op battle. It's going to be Shazam here in mid. JW is actually working his way up Banana as well. So it's going to be interesting to see where these two players actually face off this round. Stanislaw, though, very aggressive by himself outside of B.
Very little support that could come in here, too. I think Daps is with him on the site, but he's a pretty long rotate away. Thankfully, Pop Flash comes in. Stanislaw, a little bit messy on the spray, but able to execute. Picks up that first kill, and then will promptly fall back. They've got an advantage. This is a good style of play here for Conquest now. They've got to be very, very careful, and that's exactly how that's played out. Getting an advantage, and then they retreat to a safe position where now they can play towards that advantage, and it'll be Fnatic's turn to make a move here.
Yeah, so the man advantage, like you said, going the way of Conquest. Olafmeister going to go ahead and smoke off the arc side. He's going to take the fight with Rush, but he's going to lose that one. So, again, that's going to swing the favor even more heavily into the Conquest side. And JW now with the perched up on top of the hay bales outside, the hay truck, just looking for any kind of aggression from the CT side, but they're not going to give him the opportunity right now. And actually, they're going to creep on out, and they spam that. And Daps actually finds the frag and takes him down. Nice find there from the Conquest side. Pop flash into water to hold him back, but they're actually a little bit behind. Now, if Conquest end up dropping this round with this much of an advantage, that is just a complete detriment. You can see actually Flusha finds one. He's spamming through the spools and actually finds good damage. Dennis comes back into one, and now we're down to a 3 versus 2. That bomb is going to get planted. They're going for a pinch right now, but with that smoke being over there by Spool's side, Shazam can't get a clear line of sight. He's looking for anybody for any kind of information, but Molotov flushes out Flusha. He's going to be stuck behind first oranges, or second oranges, pardon me. And now that retake comes in. He peeks out a little bit too far, but there you go. Dennis actually takes down Shazam as Rush tries to pull out that rifle in time, but they do get the round in the long run, and that is going to be a 14-5 scoreline. So Conquest at least staying alive for the time being, but that got a little scary there.
Yeah, I mean, again, a situation where Fnatic had absolutely no business even getting themselves into the site. They press the way forward, but they underestimate the speed at which Conquest are able to get themselves into a position for a retake there, specifically Shazam. Really, no one was accounting for someone to re-enter that quickly back over through Garden, so they don't really watch out for that. One player in Fnatic messes up and like walks into a molly. I'm not sure if he caught that there, but he walks outside of, I think it was second oranges, and basically burns himself alive, not really realizing that's on the ground. And then from that point forward, it's a 1 versus 3, so it's pretty easy to close out. But Shazam tries to get aggressive this time through the mid choke point. A big mistake, though, as he overpeaks to a very large degree. He's going to be taken down. Nap, though, quick on the trade as he takes to that Porch Jesus bolt. He's going to be able to find the response frag over onto JW, and the rest of this team now rolling back over towards the crossroads. They're going to come up Banana and probably for a very swift take onto the B site.
Yeah, but this one-way smoke is working wonders right now. Stanislaw is going to be able to find the first one. He drops the smoke around the corner, and they are going to just push on in. Dennis finds him, but now it's going to be on Daps. He's going to get the trade, but Olafmeister is right there to retort, and it's going to be a 2-on-2 right now. Olafmeister with 15 HP, Flusha at 100 this time, and now we see the retake on. They've got a Molotov, a smoke, a flash, and an HE grenade. Both of them have kits, so they've got time to work with right now. The rotation was on point. They're coming around from the back halls. Flusha looking for that early damage. He does find a little bit on a NAF, but now both players are going to be coming back around through the main side. And there it is. Flusha actually goes down, but Olafmeister's there. And if you want anybody in a 1 versus X situation, it's Olafmeister, but he gets flushed out by a Molotov. NAF is going to be able to clutch out the round, and another round goes on the board for Conquest.
That is going to be some very smart play from NAF there. Just playing it very nicely, able to molly that back out, doesn't take any big risks. And as I was saying before, this is exactly the type of style that Conquest are forced to play towards. They cannot take any chances to bring them into a situation where they would lose a round or even really lose players in the midst of a round. They have to try and win these as wholesomely as they possibly can. The problem, though, is that they are winning these on fairly close battles. Fnatic are just missing that little bit of an oomph to get them over the edge and pick up that 15th round. So Conquest are not really given a chance to stack up a very large economy. Fnatic still have no reason to sweat because of this, because they pick up 1 round and immediately Conquest are going to be on a full eco.
And that's the big thing, too, is now they've actually lost 5 in a row, so they get that infinite money cycle that they've been on now, getting $3,400 at the end of each round. So they're going to be on these buys, and this is where things start to get really difficult for Conquest. The last 2 rounds came down to 1v1s and 1v2s. This time around, it's going to be, you know, we're going to be able to buy AKs and get in your face round in and round out, and now Shazam doesn't have the AWP. He went for that aggressive peek in mid last round. And look at their nade count as well on the CT side. You've only got 2 smokes, you've got 3 Molotovs and a handful of flashes, and it's just really, really difficult, this situation that they're in, because they're not going to be able to smoke off these choke points for very long. You can see they actually just used one in apartments, and there's still 55 seconds left on the clock.
Fnatic trying to work their way in now. They've made their way through the mid choke point, but trying to find a way through the apartments and get themselves around porch side here too. No one really going to be trying to push their wrap side just as of yet, and Rush once more will be finding this first opening frag over here towards Dennis. The rest of the team halted back here a little bit. There's still a good amount of resistance coming in from Conquest and Shazam. Nice spot as they're able to check out JW just outside of that smoke. Takes him down, and still a very strong hold being mounted here by the guys on Conquest. Basically 0 progress made by Fnatic except getting through this mid choke and getting themselves inside a boiler.
Yeah, and this is a good look here from Conquest. And again, we kind of talked about it beforehand, at least Moses touched on it on the analyst desk before we started out, was if Conquest would have actually won the knife round and gone on the CT side, this could have been a very much different story. But this time around, it's going to be Shazam swinging around from Library. He finds the opening pick onto, I believe that was Crims, and then we've got the trades come out. So they keep 3 alive this time as opposed to 1 or 2, so that's going to help their economy in the long run. But again, because they're so low, they're going to have to drop guns over off of 2 out of the 3 remaining players last round, so they're going to be buying down. And again, look at that, only 1,900 on their top bank, and that's DAPS.
And the worst part about this, just to give people a bit of perspective as to still how long away Conquest have to go, we're only halfway there in terms of their scoreline, and they already started off with 1 at the half, so they're only halfway to the amount of points they need just to tie it. That's not even to win it. So Fnatic, again, still has so many more chances to strike back against this, and as you were mentioning before, because they're already on that full losing bonus, they do have to take one of these rounds a little bit later because we didn't necessarily see them get into the plant for these past couple of rounds, but immediately after that, they could just spray buy up once again, and they're right back to tip-top shape where they can try and crush Conquest, and just 1 round doing that is going to be enough basically for them to win the game.
Yeah, and the other big thing is this is a relatively decent investment out of the terrorist side. They go for the tech armor and the tech armor. I might as well call it the tech armor buy.
That's a good name.
The Tech 9 armor buy, and they actually pick up a lot of nades as well. They've got a ton of flashes and a ton of and a couple of smokes as well. And this is an execution, so they are going to go in towards this A bomb site. But the flash comes around, and Shazam just lines up 3 of them, mows them down. He's going to pull out the pistol, but he can't get it done. Dennis is going to be there to answer back, and now it's Daps and CT Spawn going to be fighting against Dennis, but he goes down as well as Olaf Meister, and that is the clean kind of round that they want here on their CT side to try to stack some of that money up once again and move forward.
Faces on Fnatic have suddenly become a lot more serious, haven't they, Mega Man?
They certainly have, and that's the biggest thing. Like, okay, we had the opportunity to have a 15-0 first half, but we're going to buy the auto shotguns and push on down middle and try to have a little bit of fun. They lose that round, they lose the pistol round, and all of a sudden it's 14-8 with a 6-round difference. Not saying Conquest can do this, but they're at least starting to make Fnatic respect their play a little bit more here on their terrorist side.
Conquest taking up the usual positions here in round number 23 as Fnatic pushing into apartments once again. Usual spots still. This is the same thing from them too, and this is becoming a problem for Fnatic because there's not a whole lot of variance to their own strategies. They're still just throwing the same thing at the wall and hoping it'll eventually stick, which is not the case at least to start things off. But JW getting some work done there, picking up those 2 frags. It is responded to evenly, but then there's Shazam not only picking up Olaf Meister, but now dropping the bomb too. 2 left alive. They have managed to take control of the ESEA, but without the bomb, they're not getting anything done.
Yeah, and again, we're going to be seeing this 3 versus 2. Shazam stuck here in the cubby. All 3 CTs all grouped up on this side of the map. Molotov comes out. Oh, that might actually burn Shazam. It might spread enough. He's still stuck there in the cubby. Luckily for him, it doesn't actually spread enough to do any damage. Otherwise, he would have fried.
They got the bomb, though. They've actually managed to get the bomb, and now they've got the flank going, and there's going to be JW finds Daps inside of the smoke. Even scenario. Now 2 versus 2 for both of these teams, and Conquest have to be worried about this because now they've had the bomb. They thought they had full control, but it's not the case, and they've got basically nothing to work for this repeat. They've got a single molly and a flash hitting on Stan. Flush already taken down, but Stanislaw not going to be able to respond in time. JW too quick on the trades. He shuts it out, and then there's that 1 round that we needed to see here now. Fnatic immediately getting themselves back into the saddle, and they will be up to that match point.
I'm pretty sure that was actually an ace from JW. He got the opening 2 picks out of Boiler's side. I believe he actually got around and got the pick onto Shazam as well. I might be mistaken. That might have been a 4K, but nevertheless, he has stepped up in a big way. You can actually see across the board here for the terrorist side, with the exception of Crims, everybody's sitting on 20 kills or more, so they're doing a substantial amount of the work. The big story is Stanislaw here on the Conquest side. He only has a handful of kills. He hasn't really been stepping up and performing the way that the rest of his team has been as well, and Shazam also kind of low on the totem pole. But the rest of his team, Daps, Naf, and Rush, have been doing, you know, handful of work. But look at this Fnatic just walk out.
That's going to be Naf and Rush picking up 2 great kills to start things off. Shazam sitting on the edge of a Molly for the 2nd round in a row here. So he almost gets hit by that, but it's still safe. The rest of Fnatic, they are trying to make some progress into Banana and the B site itself. However, Conquest aren't aware of this one. They're starting to realize that Daps falls back, gets the smoke out, and it's perfectly timed too. Nobody on Fnatic is going to be able to fully catch anybody from Conquest, I should say, through the smoke just as of yet. And Conquest are still in a very good position to stop this. Daps, a little bit of a risky spot, and that's going to throw some pressure back onto Stanislaw once again, but they're going to press through. Not spotting him as yet. There's Daps with the first kill, dropping down, gets some damage on the second, and then this pop flash. There's another frag now coming out for Stan, and the final player, Flusha, he's been pushed back. It's going to be very hard for him to even get into this site. We can see, just tries to push his way through that spray, but it's not going to happen, and Shazam will end up catching him through the smoke.
Yeah, so again, just like that money bonus that they had built up here on the Fnatic side gets wiped out with that 1 round trade. So that's actually not that bad for Conquest. Now, granted, it is on match point, which, you know, if they would have been able to do this with a 14 round, you know, if they would have lost 13-2 in the first half and then had that situation where it's 14-8 or 14-9 at this point, they'd be a lot more comfortable because they still have no room for any mistakes. But they've at least broken the money for this for the Fnatic side. So moving on forward, they are going to have decent money here for the CT round, and this is a great opportunity for them to stack some more chips if they lose any players.
Fnatic now press themselves up through Banana, trying to make their way into it. Crims does get a lock onto one of the players here just before the smoke ends up pluing out, but still not going to have the arsenal that's needed to actually take him down just as of yet. So the rest of these guys are held back by that smoke. Not going to be committing to anything. They actually fall back by quite a bit as they've left them in chokehold open once again on the side of Conquest. So Olafmeister's going to be able to press his way through. Shazam, though, just trying to bait these players over through a wrap side. He's got that up ready to go. Missing that first connection, though, so they're going to start to flood back out. Oh, there's Olafmeister with the Huandig. Shuts out Shazam, and they're just going to go for the pinch now, working themselves inside of Arches. They're going to move in to possibly take control of the B site, but this is a fake once again, as they'll just roll right back out and move in back towards the A site probably in a moment.
This is scary for Naflight too. He's stuck over here by porch side, and if he even peeks out, JW is probably going to rip his head off. Never mind.
That's very well handled by Naf, as he's able to take down JW. So slowly trying to get back in control of this scenario. Again, though, Fnatic were assuming that Conquest would have rotated off after they spotted players going inside of Arches. This has not been the case, and now they have to try and innovate this strategy just a little bit. Things are definitely not panning out the way they would like things to, and now just getting shut down. Olafmeister walking in through the porch, still thinks Naf had fallen back. Finally, another shot comes out from Crims to take down Naf, but it might just be too little too late. Trying to line up another one. The plant does come in on the site, but Rush shutting down one of the final 2. Crims is already down at 16 HP, working against 3 other players. It's not going to happen, and we will see another round being picked up here by Conquest, 5 away from tying it up and potentially taking us into overtime.
Yeah, and this is where things actually do start to get a little bit scarier for Fnatic side. Now, I still don't have any doubt in my mind that they're going to be able to close this match out, and with that bomb plant, they're going to be able to put the extra money in the bank moving forward into this gun round. The big thing is, you know, you've seen Rush kind of start to catch fire here. You've seen Shazam hitting some nice shots with the AWP. Now, granted, last round, Olafmeister completely denied him over there in the library hall, just based off of that one shot from the Desert Eagle. I mean, that's all it takes. Granted, it wasn't a revolver. Could have been more painful.
Yes.
But 15-10, 5 rounds the difference. Now, it was 14-1 at the beginning of the second half, guys. Keep that in mind. That is kind of something big to note right here, is that there was a 14-1 halftime score, and Conquest has fought their way tooth and nail back into this one.
And Fnatic actually trying to figure out how exactly they want to approach this round. Again, the same avenues have been left open here, so they're probably going to assume it'll be the same general setup coming in from Conquest. And for the most part, that is right. But Stanislaw taking that forward spot, sitting just inside of the porch. Spots a little bit of something here, but is actually going to get aggressive after the smoke comes out. Can see a little bit, but he jumps up too soon. And Crims is going to be able to spot him there. Shuts him down. Daps is on the rotate. That Molly's in a great position, doing some great damage to Dennis and Flush. But Daps, he can't see anything. All this confusion. He has to fall back towards CT. And that's actually going to yield site control over to the guys on Fnatic.
Yeah, that play from Stanislaw, a little bit too brazen for my taste. Just kind of threw his life away and gives Fnatic the man advantage and basically sight for free. And now Rush actually burning alive down to 44 HP. Flush is going to be able to take down Daps. It's going to be Shazam on the backside by the Garden to find the shot onto Dennis, but good post-plant positions here from the terrorist side. This could be it. It's battling back and forth, and Shazam's not going to be your last man standing. JW and Flush get it done. 16-10 is going to be your final score for map number 2. So after a 16-4 victory on Mirage, Fnatic take it 16-10, 2-0 fashion over Conquest.
And I mean, all things considered, with the way that that game starts off in the first half, that was actually a really good attempt from Conquest to make their way back as they switched the things over and as they jumped onto that CT side. It was just, again, as I said before, too little too late. the big advantage that was gained by Fnatic basically gave them nothing to worry about there in the second half. So they already had a huge lead. Just needed 2 rounds. Took them a little bit longer than I think some people were expecting, but they do manage to close things out 2-0, as most of the analysts and casters did expect.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, you know, obviously we thought that second map was going to be a little bit more lopsided, especially after we saw that knife round come out and Fnatic go over onto the CT side and then just have a tremendous CT side half. Now, granted, they were, you know, for the sake of the argument, screwing around a little bit with the, you know, the auto shotgun strategy. Well, you know, they were having a little bit of fun there. You can't really argue that too much, but one of the big things is their ability to still close out maps even in the long run. Now, they were on they kind of had their on the back foot a little bit there, but you know, Conquest, not to take anything away, that was a brilliant comeback attempt from them, and it all came on the back of actually winning a pistol round.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like a lot of North American teams, Conquest unfortunately just does not have that amount of experience versus Europeans yet. This roster is still trying to get itself a little bit more solidified, so they're not going to be able to match up against Fnatic, probably one of the tip-top shaped teams in the world right now.
Yeah, and that's really kind of the tough spot for them to be in. So that's pretty much it for that matchup right there. I don't know. We're going to have our analysts kind of tackle that one here, but we're going to be going over for a little bit of a post-game interview here. I believe we've got Sadakist and JW. Take it away, Sadakist.
Thanks, Blue Mega, which Mega Man is a blue man, so that actually works out. It's kind of like the Mega Man casting duo. I'm here with someone who's apparently, you're going to go by J-Dub now, the rap name, singing straight out of Compton, going chin-checking on round 15. Like, what was that all about?
Yeah, we watched on the flight here, we watched the Straight Outta Compton movies, you know. We're all gangsters now.
Apparently you were, because that was pretty impressive stuff. However, 14-1, all right, you're having some fun. I can appreciate that. Having fun's important, messing around a little bit, making it entertaining. Maybe a little bit too soon. They came back and made you respect them a little more on that CT side.
Yeah, I mean, the CT side, as I said, we're gangsters now, so we know how to use guns. But, yeah, I don't know. I think it might be a bit of maybe jet lag. Like during that CT side, we got very like laughy and you know, like you do when you like do an all-nighter when you stay up very late. So I think it was some sort of a jet lag, but yeah, we had fun. We just kept rolling, and then at the T side, we're never really scared. But I mean, when they started winning rounds, of course we were like, yeah, okay, let's do this now. But yeah, I mean, they are way better than maybe they looked like now. I think when we get rolling, we can roll like that against pretty much the best teams in the world. So I think it maybe look a bit unfair to them, but they played good actually.
Good guy, JW, showing some respect, and it's good for them as well. Obviously, it's a big land for that roster. Good start for you guys, maybe potentially to get that out of the system early, because now you know you'll be moving forward. It's envious that you'll play in this Group A, the upper bracket of it. Anything you guys need to work out or learn from today? Again, having Dennis in communication, little subtle nuances that have to be addressed before tomorrow?
Our communication today was really good, actually. We talked good and all that. And I mean, against Envy, it's pretty much always the same playing against them. They never really impress us tactical-wise. It's all about who shoots most headshots at the day, pretty much, because, I mean, so far during that lineup's career, we've never got impressed tactical-wise. So it's all about who will shoot the hardest tomorrow.
Would you say that you almost play more that style now, though, without Dennis? Because you say that maybe like you guys had the tactical advantage, that's why, and now is that going to change? Like, is there anything to read into that?
I mean, it's still very early with Dennis. We practiced together like, I think, not even 2 weeks. We had Fragbite before this, and we went straight to this after Fragbite, so we didn't even touch Counterstrike after Fragbite pretty much. So, I mean, I think the more we play with this lineup, the longer the time goes, we're going to be more and more tactical. But so far, it's a lot run and gun, of course. And we have a very skilled lineup, so I think it's working. But eventually people will find out how to counter it and all that, so then we will start to get more tactical. But right now, I think people will just see us run and gun pretty much.
All right, well, the running and gunning certainly...
Like the gangsters we are.
Like the gangsters you are. I appreciate it. The hat backwards, it's all being thrown down by J-Dub, as he's now going to go by. But you guys have definitely been running and gunning well. 2 straight tournaments, off to a great start in this one. Thanks so much, dude. I appreciate it. If we do like a gangster handshake now, like show me how it's done in Compton. What was that? All right, cool. All right, we good. We're gonna put our heads down in shame. We're gonna walk away from that one. I'm gonna take a minute to compose myself after that. But of course, the guys who are always composed, none other, and I'm gonna change the pace here a little bit, than the fabulous Machine and the Desk.
Thank you very much, Matt. Hand-eye coordination was never your strong suit.
To be fair, that handshake was only marginally worse than Conquest was. So.
Okay. Okay, that is the route we're taking for this one.
I wasn't even going to go there.
No, he never said anything like that the whole time he was here. Where did that come from?
That is just,
Yeah.
I don't know, it just fires a firework off the desk.
He's so content.
Okay, let me just recompose myself after that one.
So smug.
Okay, so a little uppercut there for Conquest from Anders as he lets us know his thoughts on that one. Guys, I don't know how much we really can analyze that one. We saw.
I think Anders just summed it up.
Yeah,
we can go to break right
Are
now.
we done? Okay, cool.
Anders
Let's
just
try watching. See you later. No, but 5 auto shotties running down middle, a little bit of kind of. I mean, they were singing songs, and that's not an exaggeration. We are not too far from this side of the arena, and we can just hear them like rapping. There was a bit of freestyle rap coming in there, a giggle after every frag. Fnatic definitely. It's not like it was bad manners. It was just it felt like they were having a lot of fun with the game, and they were. I mean, they were looking fierce. They were running down banana with AWPs and.
And yet, somebody managed to make a Reddit thread anyways, asking if it was bad mannered, which is really annoying. I just.
Do you want to like address that now with like a 2-letter word?
Anders is triggered.
Yeah.
It's a competition. You're supposed to beat the other people, and if you can tilt them by being really happy and really excited and singing, then great. I mean, that's what you should do absolutely every time.
More power
Would
to
anyone
you.
on this panel not do that?
I would definitely do that.
I would do it.
Yeah.
There we go.
I mean, mind games are so important in this one. It's insane how much mindset can change into this, and I don't know. Maybe Conquest should have been singing more songs. Maybe that's what they were missing out on. Maybe, just maybe that's what we need to see.
Yeah.
Like hand out song sheets and then like...
I love where Fnatic have gone right now. Like, you see JW in an interview saying they weren't impressed tactically by Envy in the past, or like ever, apparently. Saying might be a bit of a stretch, but fair enough. I still appreciate just them saying it. Yeah. And during Fragbite, I mean, we had Dennis saying that they straight up beat NIP, which they didn't do. But it was still, it's still cool. I like that they're feeling really confident and they feel that they can say these things in interviews. Like, I think
that's awesome.
Good direction.
I love that in the CSGO scene.
Yeah.
Just kind of keeping it chill. And, I mean, Conquest are kind of going to have their work cut out for them now. Fnatic, though, we get Fnatic versus Envy tomorrow, guys. That's what Matt's just kind of informed us on. That's going to be great.
Really cool. To talk a little bit, I want to talk about, because we saw it in the very last round, just a little bit of the actual like tactical, some of the decision making you can see, and it's something that a lot of North Americans do, is just these small fundamental mistakes when they want to make plays, and you got to have this understanding with how the round is progressing of when you're in a position to make a play and when you're not, and to make that kind of a comeback that they had, when you're in that position to lose at 15-10 because I don't remember who it was, but Daps rotates away from B. He's the support B player. He's leaving, and the player who's left alone in the B bomb site decides to get aggressive and jump on top of him. A-cart. Like, you can't do that. If you want to make that play, fine, but Daps has to stay with you. I mean, you saw even as much as Fnatic was joking around on their own CT side with the amount of times that they've played aggressive down banana, if it's just Olaf over at car, he's holding an angle. He's not pushing it until his teammates have arrived over into the B bomb site to cover it just in case. Like, that's just like fundamental stuff that needs to get drilled into the head of these players, and it's not happening. And that goes back to the entire leadership conversation that we had. This is the thing. Like, at a certain point, some of these North American teams, I know no one likes to get yelled at, no one likes to, get dominated by their team leader, but Steel and Days, these guys rule with an iron fist. And these plays have been happening all year long. Someone needs to come in with that iron fist and just say, all right, you guys have proven you can't improve on your own, so I'm just going to be the dominant team leader, and I'm going to make you guys start learning to play smart.
I just want to leave a little bit of silence after that one. That was kind of everything that you haven't said in a while finally being said. There you go. Yeah. Whew, do you want to just take a deep breath? Like, that's it. There it goes.
I'm good.
That's what you needed. There you go. Sean, I mean, you tend to agree with what Jason's saying.
Yeah, we were talking about it when the match was live. It's just a lot of unnecessary plays that were made throughout the entire match on both maps. And then just assuming that they can take things for free, like when they're trying to take bracket control on Inferno, I would listen to them and they planned out the entire strat, but they skipped the entire beginning part of the strat, which is taking bracket to begin with. Right. We just try to walk up into bracket as if Fnatic just couldn't play there.
There was that one eco round we saw.
It looks like you're physically in pain from talking about it.
It hurts me. It hurts me.
We mentioned there was an eco round where they ran up like through a smoke, and they had like 2 smokes, 2 flashes, and a Molotov that they all died with all this utility, like $2,000 worth of utility that they just got crushed with. Like, if you're gonna buy it, like use it. Like what's going on? Like, that's just those are the kind of things that really get me tilted watching those plays.
There was a lot
But
of
I
tilt.
mean, it is interesting though, because we obviously have a bunch of people making tutorials for how to play the game better, like how do you peak angles if you want to be a good AWPer, if you do a lot of deathmatch, you have maps for it. Has anyone ever made a tutorial for in-game leading? Like, it's obviously very, very difficult, right? But I'm not even sure if anyone's ever tried.
I think Steel has. I think he has.
Steel maybe. All right. So there's a point there. But that would be good to have. That would be good to have more of.
Tutorial.
More of a conversation, right, Sean?
Yeah, if there was like a prominent in-game leader that had some time on his hands recently, that maybe we want grab a video camera and a
retirement home
microphone.
doesn't allow YouTube.
No, you're too busy dropping bombs in FPL. That's it. That's your day right now.
True.
Put your feet up, kill a couple of people, and live the dream. Yeah. How is retirement treating you, Sean? You feeling good?
Feeling great.
Yeah. Enjoying it. Little less pressure on your shoulders.
A lot better from this side. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Welcome to the dark side.
Well, yeah, I mean, so from just while we have a bit of time, I mean, we may as well, before we do dissect our next game, which is going to be called CLG, going to be trying their hand against TQM, what are your expectations for North America in this one? We didn't have a chance because, of course, you weren't on the sofa at the start. But, I mean, what do you think for this event? They got 4 teams here.
I like it. So CLG, this side of the tournament, Group B, I think the North American teams have a lot better of a chance.
Yeah.
Obviously, Luminosity would be the favorites from North America at this event. Yeah. But CLG is a great matchup for TSM, actually. I think a lot of the maps that TQM likes, CLG likes, and this could go 3 maps.
Has it dawned on anyone that last game, by the way, is going to be the longest game of all time? Because they both essentially play the same terrorist side. That's like super slow, wait till 30 seconds, 20 seconds left. I'm just saying, it's not that it won't be fun, but it'll be
in the last 20 seconds.
I didn't even think about it.
That'll be interesting.
It'll be the waiting game.
Yeah.
Who's going to mess up first?
Who's casting that one? Yeah, there's going to be...
I think
there you go, right?
I mean, look at the right side. Round time's a minute 45.
That's true.
For now.
Just add a couple seconds.
It's your last
to it.
tournament.
Yeah, at some point,
let's not go there.
At some point, we're going to have a chat. We should, we will, but not right now.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and take a quick break before we get in trouble. And we have to, of course, remind you about the Score Esports application. Grab it on your smartphone. You can get both articles, but also stats of the games that are coming up, as well as the games that have happened already. So while you're doing that, we're going to take 5. And when we come back, it's going to be CLG battling for survival up against TQM. We'll see you then.